Welcome to Wednesday Comics.
Brought to you by rootsoftheswampthing.com and Siouxpercon 2018 Return of the Con.
Hey everyone, keep turning those pages.
Welcome to Wednesday Comics. To my left, we have Orange Best himself. Alex, how you doing?
Hello everyone.
You won't fucking miss him. And to my right, we have BVS himself. Alex, Garrett, how you doing?
Wow. I guess we're just being really point on the nose here today.
BVS Alex.
Hey, and I'm the numbers. Marvin, how you doing?
The numbers, why are you the number? Oh, shit. He's wearing the Lost numbers.
I got this shirt, season 1 of Lost. This is when you watch week to week. And when they used to do TV, they didn't do this winter break shit.
Yeah.
They just randomly would take like 3 weeks off and then a new episode would come out. And then they would do like one episode and then 2 weeks off and then another episode.
Yeah, I binge watched Lost and Marvin was like, yeah, I watched from the beginning, weekly. I couldn't imagine.
I watched that pilot live. Season 2, I at one point missed a couple episodes. And so I had to be like, fuck, I just got to watch it on DVD. Because you can't just like watch it.
It's hard to find a rerun.
And that was pre-DVR and all stuff.
Right.
I would have to tape it on a VHS. And I'm going to have that kind of technology.
That's if the guide was right.
Poor college kid? Yeah, that's if the guide was right.
Yeah.
And you had to set up the VCR and be like, program the time.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it was so
That would be a freaking Stone Age.
Hassle. So back then, I missed like 3 episodes and I was like, I got to wait for the DVD, I guess. So I had to wait an extra, like half a year to watch that season. It was the worst.
Such a good show.
Yeah, I like that show a lot. People don't like that, but...
Never watched any of it.
Here's the thing about that show.
Time.
Here's the thing you can...
do it before they pull it. You don't know. One day there's going to be a sad day when they're just going to be like, yeah.
On
Lost,
Netflix?
pull it, yeah.
Yeah, they'll probably pull it one day.
Well, then they pulled How I Met Your Mother. That makes me sad.
Well, I already watched it like 2 times.
I've already watched it 3 times.
If they pull The
still,
Office off Netflix, it's game over.
I would
cancel my subscription.
I think because CBS has their own thing now, that's why they pulled How I Met Your Mother. ABC has Hulu. Maybe one day they'll pull it. But the thing about Lost is it brings up a lot of questions, and there's a mystery behind it. And a lot of people are like, what are the answers? And then when they got the answers, they're like, this isn't that great of an answer. And I think the mystery was more interesting about that show. And then some of them, there's some answers that they got that people never realized they were answers to questions. And so people were like, why was this never answered? And then for like a year after it ended, I saw tons of articles be like, this actually was answered. Here's the answer. And people were like, oh, I didn't notice that. So there was a lot of stuff going on with that show. Also, that last season, there's something that they did in that show. So I'm not going to give spoilers away, but in that show, the creators of the show said that the audience figured out the answer or the ending. So they changed the ending so people wouldn't have guessed it. And I think that was a mistake from the beginning because just because people figured it out, you have to reward them for putting together the clues and be like, oh, I figured it out, rather than be like, you guys guessed it, so we're going to change it. Now it doesn't make sense.
What book was that was that Secret Empire with the mole? Yeah, same thing, same concept. Where they're like, oh, it's clearly this person. Nope, you thought it was page turn. It's this random
That's the worst.
It's Scott Lang.
You would never guess.
That's the worst kind of reveal where they're like, it's totally random. It doesn't make sense. There's no clues leading up to it or other clues lead somewhere else. It's not that you have a red herring and then you're like, oh, it's actually this guy, and then it makes sense. No, it's just you have a red herring and then you're like, oh, it's somebody random. There's no way you could ever figure this out. And that's the worst you can do. Speaking of secrets, we're going to talk about some books coming out in 2018 later on in the episode. But those are actually books that are confirmed with writers and artists, and they're coming out next year. But we wanted to talk about the unknown. We wanted to talk about, there's some people, Bendis jumping to DC. Amazing Spider-Man, Dan Slott's going to be leaving the book.
Which we never thought we would see ever.
The dude's been on this for 10 years.
Yeah, a long time.
2 issues a month. So 24 times 10, 240 issues. That's a good run.
And I saw his last arc is the Red Goblin. It's like the Green Goblin story.
Yeah, it's like a Green Goblin kind of red. And people are speculating that he's going to erase One More Day and it's going to go back to Peter and Mary Jane being together and married.
Which like that?
Makes sense because last month for the first time, last month, November, if you listen to this, November 2017, for the first time ever, Renew Your Vows outsold Amazing Spider-Man. Damn. And that's the first time Amazing Spider-Man has ever been sold out by a different Spider-Man book. And so that tells you right there that people want that Spider-Man, the older Spider-Man who has a wife and he has a kid, not the Spider-Man who they erased all that. That's just like the same thing we're talking about Lost. They're like, oh, you like this thing? Oh, we got to erase all that. We got to go back to the beginning because we don't know how to progress this story without changing the character. So we have to go back to the beginning and retell you the whole thing.
That Renew Your Vow is actually really good. And they've done a time jump recently for Legacy.
I was going to say, I want to read it now because Jodie Hauser's on it.
Yeah.
And she does a good job with Mother Panic. So.
Yep. Mother Panic's getting a new 6 new series too.
Oh, really?
Spinoff, yeah.
What other unknowns do we... Kelly Thompson is no longer going to be doing Hawkeye, R.I.P. Hawkeye, but she said she's going to be doing something else. And also, we are speculating who the team for Jessica Jones is. Let's start with Bendis first. There's rumors he's doing Action Comics. We talked about it before in the show that we think it might be a good idea because for the Daily Planet stuff.
Yeah.
Let's say he doesn't do that book. What else would you like him to do?
I don't know Bendis well enough to know what his strong suit is.
He's really into like the street type of villains.
Okay.
I mean heroes. So I don't know. I could see him doing like a... well, God, that's tough. Like a Nightwing book, but they just got, Sam Humphries on that.
Yeah. There's something about Nightwing, though. I don't think he would.
Maybe he'll do a Hawkman book. Maybe if Hawkman gets his own series.
If you want to sell a Hawkman book, that's the way to sell it.
Yeah, just bring him back and put Bendis on
it. Let's think here.
Because I guess the only things I know Bendis from was like the that new Avengers run. So is he a good team writer or is he?
What am I saying? Been wanting a question book forever. Put him on the question. He's good with crime books. Cool. He's a street level character. Get him out there. Have him write, and I would want it to be the Renee character as question, and then have her go out there and bring her back.
Or maybe they could do I could see him pulling off something similar like Gotham Central.
A Gotham Central book would be great if they revive that. They could. There's no reason why that book can't come back. Only reason why it ended is because Rucka and Brubaker had decided to do that book themselves, and then Rucka left, and Brubaker decided to end it because they were like, we chose to write this book as a team, and then now it's just me, so I'm just going to end the book. So it wasn't DC didn't decide, this book's not selling. They were just like, the creators
he decided to be done.
I know Bendis is going to want someone that he can specialize on that character for
That's what I'm thinking.
Half a decade.
He needs somebody who's like kind of a C-level character that he can build on his own.
Booster Gold.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That wouldn't be bad.
That would be bad.
Blue Beetle.
With Skeets and whatnot.
Oh, I said Blue Beetle.
Team up. Oh, shit. Sorry. Team up with Blue Beetle and Booster Gold.
Yeah, that might be bad. I would like him to see Bendis bring his artist over from Marvel they've been working with. Yeah. David Marquez is not doing anything anymore because Defenders is ending and Spider-Man also ended. So put that call on Bendis.
Wait, was Marquez doing Spider-Man?
Spider-Man.
Oh, Men.
Spider-Man 2.
Okay.
Just ended this week, by the way.
Okay.
Spoilers out there. Watch out.
That was Caselli doing that.
Oh, you're right. This is so sorry.
I didn't think
that art is not good.
I didn't think if Marquez was on it, I probably would have got it.
Marquez is doing Spider-Man and then Defenders. You're right. Those are the two, I think.
I don't know if he's doing Spider-Man anymore.
Spider-Man? He might not be. I'm not sure.
I haven't got the book in forever, so I'm not sure. Let's move on to Amazing Spider-Man. Dan Slott leaves. Who goes in his spot? Who do you need to bring that character back to the Spider-Man that you know?
Charles Soule. I loved him when he did the Spider-Man arc in that Daredevil run. I thought he got Spider-Man on the nose.
I brought up somebody during the forecast this week. I said Kelly Thompson.
That'd be cool.
Yeah,
I'd love to see Kelly Thompson.
Originally, I would have said Chip Zdarsky, but he's already doing that Spectacular, and I dropped that book because I don't think he actually writes Spider-Man the way I want him to. Mm-hmm. I think Kelly Thompson's got a good sense of humor. I think she'd be a good choice for that book.
You know somebody who I've ragged on the show we have for something he's done over the last year, but I actually do think is a good writer when he's left his own devices because we like the fix. Nick Spencer might not be a bad pick. Now that depends what kind of Nick Spencer we get.
Yeah.
Do we get the fixed Nick Spencer, which is excellent?
If you get the Secret
or
Empire
do we get
one.
the Secret Empire Nick Spencer who thinks that his stories are super important and really need to be told?
I could see Nick Spencer because he did Ant-Man too before.
Yeah, Ant-Man was great.
And that was hilarious. It was such a great book.
Just one side mention is Secret Empire has had nothing that bleeds over into what I'm reading right now.
Fake Cap.
I haven't read that, so I don't know. That's true.
You haven't read Captain America?
Not yet.
You're not caught up on Captain America?
No.
Wait, I thought we reviewed it on the show.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did.
With the first issue.
Yeah.
And one issue's come out since then. He fights the Swordmaster.
You haven't read that?
Nope.
You're missing out.
I know.
Go read it.
But you know what is coming out next week? Craven the Hunter's on the cover.
Well, now you got to read both issues.
I know. Excitement.
Speaking of Kelly Thompson, what do you think she does after Hawkeye ends?
Cries.
We all cried that day.
I tell you what. When you told me that it was ending at issue 16, man, I'm sad.
All I said on Twitter was I retweeted her tweet and I quoted. I just said no exclamation point, and she liked that. And I was like, she liked it. And that's all I said. That was me crying in the corner, by the way.
Well, I mean, we can say as Wednesday Comics that we've really pushed her on Hawkeye. Like, she's amazing.
Yeah.
I think,
it was,
I would like to see her with another, not just because she's a female, but I think she writes, at least for like Cage, she writes her so well. I love to see her write a strong female character or a male, but
she's written Jessica Jones before in the Hawkeye run. So if that book needs a writer,
Jessica Jones would be good.
Jessica Jones
hell yeah, I would
bad.
be staying on for sure if she did it.
Did you say the artist was staying on?
I believe Gatos would not.
He's not gonna. Okay,
I don't know for sure. They haven't announced it.
I wouldn't mind if
Gatos stayed on it and there was a new writer. That'd be awesome because that's the same artist who's done the whole series. But I don't know if Bendis is gone, they're gone. So,
see, I think that's one of those books that I realize Jessica Jones has been in other books, but I think that title would just need to be gone since both the writer and the artist are going to be.
But she's such
elsewhere.
a pivotal character right now that Marvel's not going to miss out on that money. Are you kidding?
If she didn't have a Netflix series, she would be canceled.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that she can't be written by somebody else. I think that the title of Jessica Jones needs to go away.
Yeah.
That book title. She can be in Defenders. She can be in an Avengers book. I get that.
You.
But
it's not going to happen.
I know. To me, the right thing to do is to let that die with him.
Yeah, and then one more thing about Bendis we should probably go back to is Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man, Miles Morales. And Invincible Iron Man. Invincible Iron Man 600 is going to be his final issue in Marvel Comics.
Yeah. I can't talk about Ultimates because I know spoilers.
About what?
From Spider-Man 2, number 5.
Oh, I haven't read it.
Got some info.
Well,
you went article hunting?
I just saw it pop up.
Oh.
That's what happens when you're
He looked at it. Oh, all right.
On Twitter, you got a bunch of spoiler kings.
See, what amazes me is that I don't know shit about spoilers ever.
Yeah.
That's because you use the internet in a weird way. You use the internet for, people use the internet as like an open thing where they go to websites, they read news, or they go on Twitter, social media, and they open it up to everybody. For you know what you want, you go there, you see it, and you leave. That's it.
That might be it. Is that I
you don't look around or anything.
Well, when I go on Facebook, all I do is I'll zoom. I mean, I don't give a shit about anything other than what I'm supposed. Either something that catches my eye, or like a random quiz, or what someone else is doing that I know. Otherwise, I could give two shits.
Go to
about.
Newsarama.
That's why.
Go to page 10 and go back all the way to 1.
That's the thing. I don't think Alex even cares to read any kind of news on Newsarama to be like,
really?
Oh
man.
No.
It's fun because you see like creators' names, you see projects coming up, you see preview art, you see so many things.
That's why today for our feature, when we have new books coming out in 2018, when I first suggested, I was like, probably gonna have to tell Alex where to look for to figure out.
To be fair, I asked you guys where to look.
You did,
and you never told me where to look.
Why couldn't I find it?
Then you just told me books.
You're literally usually, yeah, that's what I did. But usually at this point, there would be like books to look off for 2018. I didn't see one article.
No.
Nobody knows what's going on.
The only thing I've seen is what's in our books, like Legion, and not that we're going to talk about it. I'm just saying that Legion was something that popped in my head. Bonehead, which you and I got this week, was in the end of God Complex.
Yep. Which we're going to talk about later, but I have an issue with that issue.
Yeah. I want to take a guess at it before you tell me.
But it'll be pretty easy.
Yeah.
I just realized
you don't know
what books we're doing. But we'll start first. Actually, we'll start with this one first, and then we'll move on.
Do we not have more?
Yeah, the other 3 are books that you only threw.
No, I meant, didn't we have other things to talk about at the beginning of the show?
Oh, I think that was it, right?
That was
Jonathan Hickman?
Oh, Hickman.
All I know is that Iron Man probably come back.
Here's the thing about Hickman. I have no clue what he's doing. He on Twitter acts like he's not doing anything. And so I have no clue if he's actively working on anything or if he's just like having some writer's block. RootsOfTheSwampThing.com, your definitive source for all things Swamp Thing. Holland Files number 2 should be coming out pretty soon. If you got your pre-order in, you should be expecting to see it pretty soon. So visit the world of Swamp Thing at RootsOfTheSwampThing.com, on Twitter at DCWorldSwampy, or on Facebook at Facebook.com/RootsOfTheSwampThing. Alex, how about you get that phone out of my face?
Well, I'm blocking your face.
Holy shit, we're breaking through the fourth wall. It's a phone and 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 a phone.
Punisher, the Platoon, number 4. This is this week's new comic. Garthen, excuse me. Gordon Plavolo and Jordi Belair on colors. Oh, I didn't know Jordi's doing the colors on here. I think I knew, but I just didn't know. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I know what you're saying.
She's doing everything now, so I just assume she's doing the colors.
I think it amazes me how well Jordi just changes from book to book to book.
That's the thing is, like, I'm almost like, wow, this color's just good. Who is it? Jordi. Oh, who's this? Jordi. Like,
and she's been doing it this long. I mean, or is Jordi a dude?
No, it's a girl.
That's what I thought. Okay.
She's married to Declan Shelby.
Oh, I never put that together.
The artist for Moon Knight, that run.
Oh.
We'll talk about Punisher Platoon. So they go to Saigon for a little R&R. Or as it says in the page number one, fucky. A little suck, fuck. Yeah. Hey, that's in the book. That's not me.
It was in the book.
I will point out Marvin did pitch that to Garth Ennis, so.
Yeah, I sold him my memoirs. And so we have two different stories going on here. We have them, well, actually, 3. We have the Marines going on a little R&R in Saigon. We have the Viet Cong. We have a story about, do we know the girl's name? I think we do. But
they keep calling her sister.
She tells a story on how, like, why she hates the Americans so much. And then we have the story of LT himself, Mr. Punisher, and another one of the soldiers. Who was it? Do you know what I'm saying?
I don't remember what his name is. I know he also has a lady back at home.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Because they were
were him and Frank like, hey, we can't do this, or was that Frank?
That's what it was.
Well, he came over. He saw Frank sitting there, and he was
the other Marines are going to go bang some whores.
He's like, Frank, why aren't you doing that? He pulls up a picture of his wife and kid and was like, what did he say? Not trying to. And he shows him the picture. He goes, ah. And then the other guy holds up. He goes, you married? He goes, gotta be, but I just don't know any. But I just know I do any shit over here at all. It don't matter if she finds out, I lose her. So, and they talk about that for a while. And actually, this is a very nice issue because you see, the softer side, we'll say, of LT himself, Castle. By the way, I love that they call him LT.
Me too. I really do.
For a while, I was like, because they spell it out phonetically, they don't just say LT.
Oh.
So for a while, I was like, what the fuck are they calling him? And finally, I sat and I actually read it, and I went LT, and I was like, oh, Lieutenant. He's Lieutenant. Them talking about their families. I mean, this whole first 3 issues is Castle killing people in the most brutal ways possible, and seeing him destroy a village via airstrike just in case. Like, they didn't know if there were any enemies there, but he was like, just in case, and destroyed a village full of women and children. And now we're seeing how much his family means to him. And it's kind of like that duality that we see where he doesn't care about anybody else but his own. And we were talking about, is he really this like ruthless killer? No, he's just making sure that he's protecting his family in a way. And the same thing with the other guy too. Yeah, and even in the way where like, there's no way his wife would ever figure out anything that he went over here, but he's still really loyal. And he's like, no, we're not going to do anything. And the same thing with the other guy. We get the story from the Viet Cong side of, how they torture that guy.
Well, it looks like they just beat the shit out of him a little bit.
And then he just starts talking.
Yeah, then he just starts talking because he says at the bottom of this panel, he goes, you either beat the crap out of me and I talk, or I just talk and we get done with it.
So I thought they were going to kill him.
Me too.
But you know what I thought afterwards? They didn't kill him. They just let him go. Or not let him go, but put him back in the cage or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, no, you did a good job. And, they didn't know they were sending him to a prison. They go, it's not going to be nice, but that's what we have to do. So they set them up somewhere. But I like how they didn't kill him because I felt that would have been a little cliche for him to be like, I know you guys would just kill me anyway, so that's what I told you, everything. And it would be cliche for them to be like, well, we're going to kill you anyways.
Yeah.
But they actually didn't. And it shows you how this, is he commander? Was he the general? How the general is, of the other side, is still also compassionate.
Oh, the colonel.
The colonel. He's not trying to just kill random people. Now that girl is. Yeah. That girl soldier.
She's got a whole handful of dog tags of men that she took down that were part of his crew.
Yeah, so we see that she tells a backstory on how the Americans came to her village, a village full of women and children, and there were just families living there. They weren't any soldiers. and all those American soldiers just destroyed the village, raped all the women, and even like the female kids, and like sliced off all their ears for prizes.
Killed their dad,
and like destroyed the whole village. And that's why she hates Americans so much. And you know what? It's not just a black and white villain. You don't just see her holding all those dog tags and be like, man, she's evil. You hold those dog tags, she goes, maybe it's worth, like, it's for her.
It's justified.
It's justified in a way. Just like a Punisher. For him, it's justified. Later, it's kind of like weird that we see that now. They killed her family, so she's killing all them. And the Punisher, when he comes back, does the same exact thing. They kill his family, he does the same thing. So she's kind of like the Punisher in this story. She actually is.
And maybe that's
who she
maybe
is.
That's the whole story, is that maybe she's the Punisher of the Platoon. It's not about Frank Castle.
Whoa. This is like Sixth Sense.
Holy shit.
And then Green Berets show up when they're having a little R&R, and they talk about how some Marines left them stranded somewhere. But it wasn't these Marines, but they're just going to beat them up anyways. Castle rolls in, looks at the guy and says, control your men, Sergeant. The guy goes, what did you fucking say? And he looks at him. He just looks at him. He goes, I have no answer for you. Go and sleep it off. And his fucking eyes. This is an eyes of a killer. His fucking guy, like, he saw him right away and he already blinked. And Castle was just, you see those eyes and you're like, oh no, this guy's going to kill. Like,
I see that.
I'm not getting into a fight with this
like,
guy.
Oof.
I tell you what, it's actually scarier looking at it upside down.
And I think that's what's great about this comic. The art can be really rough, but also in certain parts, it's like, that tells so much in this panel. Normally, like, maybe, I mean, a worse artist wouldn't think to be like, let me make sure that I get his eyes right. Because when he's staring him down, this guy you could see looks very human. Like this, I don't know if this looks something like the Terminator.
Yeah.
Like this guy's ready to kill. Like when he's in the mode, there's no stopping Castle.
I think that's what I expected. And I didn't expect Castle to kill those guys, but I did expect him to break some faces. And to see it just be, he makes eye contact with you, breaks you mentally, and then you're like, fuck this, I'm just going to go away. Way to go, Castle. Respect.
And at the end, the colonel is telling the female Viet Cong story about how he's been through all these wars, and he's done worse stuff too. It's just, but he's like, for him now, it's just like a job. So he's just like, yeah, I've been through tons of wars, and then ordered a lot of bad stuff, but he's never really done anything bad. He's been more the colonel and ordering stuff. So I really like this issue a lot. It's different than there's no Bailey. I don't think there's any kind of violence in this issue or any kind of battle or anything compared to the last three. But it really does show you being like, both sides are in a war they're not wanting to fight. Both sides are there, but they really don't want to be there. But if they're going to be there, they're going to do the best job they can to get it done. Yeah. And I think it's really, like I said on the forecast, it's really a good book about, it's not just the Punisher. It's a good war comic. Like this is getting me ready for the other side. And I bet it's going to be the same, well, not the same exact thing, but it's going to be a similar theme. We have to see both sides, and we're seeing both sides in this one too. And it's just told through the veils of Punisher, because he was in that war anyway. So I really like this book a lot. Art's great. Colors, Jordy, great.
She nails it every time. I like this book. This is actually, at the minute, was probably not my favorite issue. But now when I hear you talk about it, that it's not all about the fighting. It's actually more about just being someone there. I hadn't thought about it, that they didn't want to be there. They're just, that's their job. They're there to do a job.
That's why I like, even when Castle and his
I wish that they would do
less
of the future stuff or the current stuff. I wish that really was just all the time being in the past, living this life and seeing what it was to be Frank. And I get that.
Yeah.
They're telling the memoirs.
Takes you out a little bit, but
it does.
It's a nice. There has to be some sort of framing device to tell you
why we're telling the story.
Why he's telling the story, and how the only reason we know the other side story is because this reporter already talked to the colonel. And that's right. And he's telling it to these soldiers.
And that's the colonel the young colonel now, who has a science and this is his job, is the one that we talked to in issue 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and he's telling the soldiers, because then that first issue, they're like, how do you know all this? And he's like, well, I talked to the colonel already. He told me all this. And now that they're all out of it, the colonel like lives in America and all this stuff. And so like, for him, like, it was just a job, and now he's an American. He really has no ill will towards Americans, but that was what he was doing at the time. And so, like, they're kind of learning a different story as it goes along, too. And I think that's the point of it. And maybe we'll get to that more when it's towards the end, when he's trying to figure out, did this war make the Punisher, or was the Punisher like this before it started? and they're also learning that this war, like really that the Vietnam people hate Americans really that much, or was it really just the war? And everybody hated everybody just because that's what they were doing. And even there's even a part when he asks the soldier, he's like, how's it already back home? How's the morale? And he goes, the soldiers? He goes, no, the American public. What do they think about this war? He's like, all they see is their soldiers coming back dead in caskets, and they don't want it to go on anymore. They want talks. And he's sitting there, and the colonel's thinking about it. And you could tell he's like, kind of like, yeah, like, we want this to be done too. Like, nobody wants this. They talk about here how the Americans they've bombed 5 times as many bombs as they did for Hiroshima, like the amount of explosives. But nobody ever talks about it because it was done in little bits, like every single day they drop bombs. Every single hour they're dropping bombs and napalm and all this stuff. And just because it wasn't one big explosion, people were like, oh no, it was okay. But they would take out everything doing that. They wouldn't even like try to hit soldiers. They would try to destroy their land so they couldn't use their land anymore and destroy them in a different way. And it just also, that part of it also shows you like war is not just about killing other soldiers. Sometimes like this, it was about destroying that country. And I think that's real, like, not cool, but it's really interesting side to see that sometimes war isn't about just making sure they had no soldiers left. In this story, it was really destroy that country.
Yeah.
And even the soldiers, like, didn't see the Vietnam people as people. Like when they went to raid that village, they were just like, well, we're out here. We're supposed to just destroy everything. I really like it. It's really a different kind of story from, and it's Garth Ennis. He did the same thing. He did the same thing with Fury Max. I think it's really interesting because a lot of times Fury Max really wasn't like a Nick Fury, like that we know Nick Fury. It really was Nick Fury during Vietnam and post, because I think there's another story. I forgot. There's another war too. And then this one is like Punisher, but like you could replace Punisher with a random person and be like, okay, this is just a war book then. So I wouldn't go into this story series at all and be like, oh, I'm going to read a Punisher book. It is interesting to be like, oh, did this war really make him who he is? But also it's just a story about a war. So it makes me excited for that other side. By the way, Where's the Comics Book Club?
League of Extraordinary Gentle People.
What I've always wondered, why is it like muscle memory for you to remember it?
Do I do this every time I say it?
Yeah, you've got some movement that you do with it.
Because it's badass. Have you heard of our book club?
I have heard of our
Or the
book
League
club.
of Extraordinary Gentle People.
It is amazing. I agree.
I give this book a 9. Strong.
Hey, what's your rating?
I have to admit, I give it a 7. It was good, but it
Didn't hit you on the emotional level that it hit Marvin?
No.
It didn't shoot him. It didn't punish him.
To be fair, he also had to read 6 books this week for the show, and I had to read 3. So I probably had more time to like digest
enjoy it. Yeah.
I say there were some books. I did have books that were really good this week.
And we've established in the show I enjoy the politics side of the books more than Alex does. So like that real side of it, about
I want a
politics of war.
little bit more punishment would have been fine.
He wants more punishment, and I was okay seeing the politics of war. It's really interesting for me to see. Sometimes it's not about how, and those guns. That's an interesting part of this book also. Like the American Army or the American Armed Forces gave the soldiers M16s. Was that what it was?
I believe so.
They gave them M16s. Oh no, that was last issue. Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, they gave them M16s in the last issue, and because it was cheaper, but they can never shoot through anything, and they always got jammed up in the mud. And he's like, "What happened to those M14s that we used to have?" He was like, "Those were so good. They could shoot
when
through
the
anything."
LT puts in the order to
Yeah,
get
he was
them.
like, "Those were so good. They could shoot through anything, and you could put them through millions of gallons of mud, and they wouldn't get jammed up."
Millions of months.
So the Punisher kills a lot of Viet Cong and takes their AK-47s, sells them on a black market to buy M14s for his crew, so they could kill more efficiently. And he goes, "Hey, save our M16s in case somebody comes by and checks our guns, like part of the armed forces." And he goes, "But we're going to use these." And then the Viet Cong's coming out of the forest and start shooting them. And he goes, "Hey, test it out." And they scope it out, and he shoots it right through that tree. Because the Viet Cong knew that their guns before wouldn't shoot through that tree. They were so weak before. And so he's like,
and that's why he shoots them through the tree.
Yeah, and they shoot them right through the tree, being like, "No, now we got firearms." And that's just like showing you also, like, the Castle is living for that. Like, he's not going to let that whole troop down. But also, like, the armed forces at that point, like, we're just sending people there in forces and be like, they didn't care about the people coming back that were dying, their soldiers. They were just like, we'll send a bunch of them. Like, it's more that we have more soldiers. Well, that's how we'll win this war. But, and then what's cheaper too, they're getting them M16s, and they weren't giving them guns that they could win with.
Yeah.
They were just buying time and just going over there and fighting. And their real battle was the bombs that are dropping. And I just found that interesting also about you never actually think about what weapons are they using? Is it really the greatest weapons? Are they out there really just dying on their own? And that was the last issue was about is they decided at a certain point that they couldn't rely on their government anymore to keep them safe, that they would have to keep themselves safe. I really do like this. There's a lot of politics in this book. So if you're not interested in that at all, I wouldn't get this book at all.
To be fair, I am 4 out of 6 books in. I'm just going to finish this whole thing. And it has been good. I tell you what, this book is... But it's a lot more...
it usually deals with a lot of politics, but also there's a lot of action. This book was more politics. This issue, I mean.
A lot of talking.
Just setting up what's to come, I'm sure.
So, you know what has come and gone in the last year? We got Kamandi Challenge number 12. Written by Gail Simone and Len Wein, and art by Ryan Sook and Joss Lewis. Oh, there's a lot of things. Garcia Lopez. I'm glad this book is done.
Yeah, I thought it ended good. Good is loose. It's almost dipping to okay. It wasn't great. I think what Gail Simone was able to do with basically having the leftover chunk of the story, I think she did a great job. But she couldn't really do much with it except tie it all together. So, for that point of it, I mean, the art was good. Really enjoyed the art. Story, we find out the coolest part I loved about her story was Kamanda.
I like the first 5 pages.
Yeah.
First 5 pages was great.
I wish she was real. I would read that book. That was good. Find out it's just a dream for Kamandi, and then, then basically Jack Kirby comes as a genie, and
Now that was written by someone else though, wasn't it? That second half?
It was incorporated in. I think it was Dan DiDio, I'm not sure. Or somebody.
It was
Len Wein did the art. Some of the art.
You literally just read it.
Len Wein did the writing.
He did some of the writing. Okay. Oh, he did the epilogue. Okay. Well, that was half the book. So I don't know. It was a big chunk.
Yeah.
And that part was good. I think I don't know Jack Kirby about his life that much, except for what he's done in comics. And so when he's writing J plus D and a heart, I saw in the end
J plus R.
J plus R. I mean, yeah, that's for Rana. Or it says in the letters column at the end of the book, Reza or not.
It's Rez, yeah.
Rez.
What was that girl's name?
Roz.
Roz, yeah,
Roz.
it's Roz because in Mighty Thor, that new character that was on Thor, that's based on his wife.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Interesting.
Cool.
But yeah, I mean, I can't believe it's over. I think it, basically what it did is it erased everything that happened, and he just goes about his life, I guess.
I'm glad. I have to admit, I gave this book a 6. I was really not
as a series or this issue.
This issue alone. I'm just doing the issue alone.
I would do a 6 as well. I think there's not much to say about it. It literally took pieces of every single issue we've gotten and added it. It was kind of like maybe Civil War 2, where you're just flipping through pages and there's just all these things.
This was one of those books that I wanted us to talk about for the fact it was the last issue.
Yeah.
But I have no sadness that it's done. I'm glad to see that we can move on to other books, and that I'm excited that I was a part of this challenge. And to go through 12 months of different writers taking this book on, we did have some great issues for art and writing alone. This one, I love Gail Simone, but she did get kind of the shit into the deal of, you got to ramp everything up that you've learned in the last 11 issues.
If she could have taken up after Tom King, I think it would be a different story, but...
Agreed.
There was still one issue in between, and I would love to see a Kamandi book on its own. But, I don't think that's in the works for anytime soon. Probably off sales off of this, too. I don't think.
Well, here's the thing about it's a very interesting idea for a book, and I don't think DC should take this and be like, oh, this didn't work. I think it really works based on the strength of the writers and artists per issue and their ability to pivot. I'll say that, but I'm not going to.
I just gave it to him to read.
and their ability to pivot and kind of like improv in a way and take somebody else's story and not be like, well, I had this idea for a story. Let me just try to make it fit to this. Whereas, like, for instance, Tom King really seemed like he saw that ending and then was, okay, let me make a story from this ending. Where some of them really seemed like they were like, oh, it ended this way? Okay, how's he going to get out of this into my story?
Well, they did confirm that the whole reason he was falling is he
had to build up into becoming a man.
Yeah, he was falling into being a man.
He had to get the adrenaline.
Also, the falling was something.
It was his power. It gave him powers.
What?
Yeah.
The last wish that...
this reminds me of...
Kamandi gets 3 wishes.
Crying.
Kamandi gets 3 wishes from Jack Kirby at the end of this book.
What was the first one?
First one was...
Because whatever it was shit, and he was mad about it.
Yeah, I think it was like, I don't.
And then the second one was he wanted all the bosses from all the worlds that he's gone to, or all the tribes he's met, in one place so he can talk to them. And then Jeannie Kirby tells him, I need you to say your name and give your last syllable.
Oh, yeah. Kamandi,
because that's where he was from, and that will seal everything and make everything right. And and then they even make mention with Detective Chimp or whatever.
Detective Chimp's how this book ends.
And he goes,
it's 2 pages of Detective Chimp.
I know you guys were all annoyed that he kept falling, but he had to fall so that he could get the adrenaline to build up his power to say his name. Because that's all it needed was to say his name.
So basically,
I'm not sure what happened.
Michael Winslow walked in. That's what happened.
It stalled out
as it went down.
It's very interesting to see. Like, I wouldn't mind reading a Kamandi book. Actually, I think the Tom King did a great job, but he's doing a lot of stuff, so he probably wouldn't make a Kamandi. Like, he wouldn't be in charge of a Kamandi thing. I think the person who, like, the issue that they took and they really opened it up to a world was Bill Willingham's issue where he had the detective.
Yes, that was one of my favorite issues.
That was one of the favorite issues because they made it, instead of a book being situations, they made this book be like about the grander world.
Yeah.
And so reading the issue, I was like, he should be writing like a Kamandi, like an ongoing, or like, even if it was like that should be like a quarterly book. They bring out quarterly books. Like, and that might be a better way to do a Kamandi challenge as a quarterly book, because that way they can tell more of a story and we don't get these just like one scene situations and then it falls into the next one. That was the only thing that bothered me about it. But I actually do like, it's okay to take risk, and I really do like that they did this. So I wouldn't mind that if they did more books like this. I would still try it out. But like I said, it all depended on who was writing and drawing it and their ability to take something that somebody else did and make something out of it, rather than being like, no, here's my story. Let me just try to figure out a way to make it Legoed into the other one.
But that's the thing. Like you said, the Bill Willingham, that was a great issue because it was his own story. The Tom King, it was his own story. It took that tiny little bit of lead off from the first. They
both did cliffhangers that weren't the same as the others. It wasn't falling.
And it was the good.
It was actual cliffhangers.
Yeah. And both of their stories, and I think Margaret Bennett's too, weren't just like 1 hour of Kamandi's life. They took over like a long period of time.
Well, how long was Kamandi?
He was in there for years.
It was
for Tom King. Yeah, he was in there for a long time. And then Bill Willingham's like, he took a trip on that ship and stuff like that. And I believe in, I remember Margaret Bennett's also, we praised it because it didn't take place over just 1 hour. It took some time. So like,
why don't I remember that issue?
You know what? I don't, but I remember being good. So that's why I keep reading.
Okay. I was like, I don't remember what happened in that.
I remember
issue.
those 3. We were like, those are excellent.
Okay.
We reviewed on the show, so go back and find it.
Then tell us about it, because I can't remember.
But yeah, it was interesting. I didn't read this issue. Obviously, I dropped off after Tom King's.
And I don't blame you, actually.
Because it really did, depending on who was writing it. When I saw Tom King was going to be on it and Eastman was going to be on it, I was like, I'm going to get that issue. And it was great. Mm-hmm. And then after that, I was like, I really don't care for anybody else. I do like Gail, but at that point, I figured it was going to be the last issue. And like the same thing you said, she's going to have to do something to end this in a way that they wanted it to end. It wasn't really going to be her story.
It was very, very corny.
Well, I think that's the thing, is that you go from issues that are really strong and you're like, man, that's just a great story, to what they need it to be to end it. And it's like, you're taking away the fun part of, this is my story to tell you. Yes, I agree, it needs to wrap up, but
and I know it's in tribute of Jack Kirby, but I think, like, you know, it's better to see, like, Stan Lee, when you're attributing him in those Marvel movies, it's a cameo. Yeah. It's not, we're shoving him down your throat, so remember him. You know, it's like...
What happened? He actually showed up in this book?
He's the genie.
He's a genie that grants Kamandi wishes.
Oh. I don't mind that. Grant Morrison showed up in his books too.
Well, I know, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, as a tribute, though, to him, I think, like, literally, they were shoving him down your throat.
It's his book. You know what? I know what you mean. For story wise, it doesn't make sense. But
yeah, I know it's a tribute. Yeah,
that's what I mean. Like I don't mind that he shows up in his own book. That's fine. But I didn't read it, so I don't know how it worked out.
I don't know. I just think it's a lot. Like, it's fine. Like, I'd rather remember him, like, in the beginning, that first issue, like, he turns into a robot, whatever. Yeah. It'd be cool if you just said, and like, because he does say a quote at the end where it's like, you don't have something about limitations.
Did they have anything at the end that just was about Jack, like, not about Kamandi? That was like...
They had the...
Well, they had an essay, but it was more about... It was Paul Levitz, who was the... what would you call it?
He was editor-in-chief.
He was editor-in-chief, that's right. And he wrote an essay about Len Wein. It was more of a tribute to Len Wein on that page.
No.
Oh, okay. I think actually that's in multiple books. So maybe it's not special to that book, but I really would like to see, because there actually was an episode of Secret History of Comic Books, if you're watching it at AMC, about Jack Kirby and Stan Lee recently. And it was nice because they talked about Jack Kirby a lot. So I actually would like to see DC in that book, like if they had it like some sort of essay. That would have been nice. But what did you give it?
I give it a 6.
Garrett?
6 as well.
Oh, okay.
The Frank Miller cover was really cool. I really like the Frank Miller cover for being not as great as Frank Miller in his prime.
By the way, if you're wondering, and you probably don't, you're okay because I talked a lot during that Punisher one. 3 of the books today I did not read, so that's why I didn't talk during the Kamandi one.
Oh.
And I won't talk during these next 2.
Yeah.
Next 2.
Next, we have...
Holy shit, we were just on my book that we were talking about? I mean, I was already past and thinking about your book that we were on. Sorry.
What?
I know. Never mind.
Right. Next, we got Go-Go Power Rangers, number 5, written by Ryan Parrott, with art by Dan Mora. This book is way better than Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I guess you don't get it, but it's the best. It's one of the best comics out there.
This issue was really strong.
It was.
Like this book was actually on the cutting block for me, and I was like, God, I really want to get 5. Yeah, I'll put it on the list. It'll give me a reason to read it. Maybe I'll enjoy it. I really enjoyed this book.
Holy cow. I mean, last issue we found out that Matt, Kimberly's boyfriend, has been taken prisoner, and Rita sent a putty in his disguise him to Angel Grove.
Infiltrate.
Right.
Not even infiltrate the Power Rangers, but it was to get to be a part of the city because he doesn't know yet. Well, she knows who they are.
Right.
Okay, so she is trying to infiltrate to get to know these kids.
To find their weakness, basically. That's what I love about this book. Like, when you see the 90s show, you literally just see them as Power Rangers. Sometimes you get glimpses of their life, but not really. The Power Rangers, the movie, try to touch on that more, like who they are as characters. And I think this book gets it perfectly. It's, Homecoming's coming up, so they're all like freaking out about who they're going to take to Homecoming. Kimberly's like overprotective of Matt because Matt got hurt because of, a Power Rangers related event.
But so miraculously is walking pretty well.
Yeah. So
which they bring, they bring out and talk about and going,
how is this possible?
You're walking different than you normally do. And so I like how it's not trying to make the Power Rangers look stupid because that's what the cartoon did, or not cartoon, the TV show. It was like, oh, look how, these Power Rangers, Billy's pretty smart, but he's not smart enough to see the things that are obviously in front of him. And it's nice to see that Kimberly isn't the dumb, hot girl. She's actually fairly intelligent.
I did not know how smart putties are. I didn't even think putties could create words. I guess, there's some episodes in the show where there was like an evil clown that was a putty in disguise or something like that.
So the nice thing is that even Fenster, who is the creator, the sculptor of these putties, even goes, so this specific putty is a combination mixture that I made. That it's got moist putty and something else.
Whatever all is evil.
I was like, okay, materials. At least it's not real, but at least you're giving, science, quote unquote, or fantasy of some kind, telling me why this is so special.
Well, when you read Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Kimberly, like this takes place before that series because Kimberly always talks about what happened with Matt, and it's something they don't talk about in that comic.
Oh, really?
So in this one,
so Tommy's never going to show up in this, is he?
Did I say Tommy?
No. You said Matt. But Tommy's in Mighty Morphin.
He's in Mighty Morphin.
So I'm wondering if Tommy will ever show up.
He might at some point.
Okay.
But I'm guessing, because, you can even see when Matt is being held captive by Rita, Kimberly is there. Like, she's using Kimberly's image to manipulate him.
Yep.
And I think he's going to figure out that he's going to blame her for being in that situation. Or he might die.
The way that it'd probably be horrible to want him to die, but that's almost the stakes that I want in a Power Ranger universe is to know that people die. That when these buildings blow up in Angel Grove, it's not just, they flew out onto a nice trampoline and bounced off their living. No, when the buildings get destroyed, people die.
Right.
Not everyone leaves when there's an evacuation.
Another favorite part of this issue is they did training. This was, so they call it, is it Arrival Day?
Yes.
Yep. So Arrival Day is when the Power Rangers first get their powers.
Yep.
And it says Arrival Day plus 12. So it's been 12 days since they've become Power Rangers. So it's cool to see that they're training. Like, they're training with their Zords, like fighting each other. Again, we got that in that new Power Rangers movie. And so it's kind of fun that, you get to see that with our team that we love from the 90s. And
Zordon tells the Rangers that these Zords are connected to you.
Yeah.
So they have powers you don't even know you have. They have powers you haven't unlocked yet.
Yeah.
And so when Zordon tells Billy that you should have been able to stop Jason by using your horn chains.
Yep.
It's like, I don't have horn chains. Then the horn chains just shoot out. Holy shit.
I have horn chains?
I actually hope that Trini and Jason build a little bit more of a relationship because the way that they talk, I love this book for just the characterization.
Yeah.
You're giving these characters more than just I'm a Red Ranger, I'm the Yellow Ranger. It's we're friends.
Right.
I like him. He's not aware of it until Putty Matthew tells him that, by the way, Trini likes you and everybody knows it.
Well, everyone always thinks that, it's either Red Ranger and Pink Ranger that have to get together or, Tommy and Kimberly. But you never think about Jason because Jason, if he likes Trini, you can't really see it in the 90s show, but, I know in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, they got kind of more of a connection building. And even in Go-Go, it's really apparent that they have a thing for each other. So it'd be kind of cool. A little behind the scenes thing that we get as fans be like, hey, they actually had a thing.
And Zach is way smoother in the comic, and at least in Go-Go Power Rangers, than he ever was in the 1990 show.
Well, it was Pun City when he was in that show.
I get that. But it's just, he has girls chase. You know what? Zach reminds me of you.
Whoa.
Garrett. It's a compliment right there. I know. Get that written down. Boom. Marvin, that's Billy.
My bullhead like a rhinoceros?
I don't want to say anything, but yeah.
Wow. But I give this issue a 10. I'm giving it a 10. I loved it. I don't think there's one thing wrong with it.
I gave it an 8. I think a part of it was I was...
And Dan Moore's art. We didn't talk about Dan Moore's art. So amazing.
I tell you what.
Crisp.
Yes. This book... and one thing is that his art from Go-Go Power Rangers to Klaus... way different.
Yeah.
I mean, got the same style, yes, but I think a lot of it is the coloring is great.
Yep. Colors are really bright and nothing's dull about it. It's just such a good book. Makes you want to see these, you want to read more. I want to keep reading and there's nothing yet yet.
I think I want to actually go back and read all 5 back to back because this book really is, it's fluid and it's smooth and I'm actually liking these characters. It's not just the Power Rangers alike. I actually enjoyed it when they weren't Power Rangers.
And they're barely Power Rangers in this book.
Which is great. It's kind of like reading Batman. It's not about Batman. It's about Bruce.
Yeah, Bruce.
I want to get to know these characters. I want to get to know these kids and how they're living their lives. So I give it an 8.
Boom.
All right. I'll wake up from my nap.
That one? I'll do that one. So you've read this one?
Oh, that's a good point.
Oh.
I know. I handed it to him. So yeah. Doomsday Clock number
2.
Hold on. I was looking at something here. Doomsday Clock number 2 of 12. This is Jeff Johns, Gary Frank, and on colors we have who knows? I'll tell you in a second here. So then this issue we have. Oh, here we go. Brad Anderson. So we have the continuation of how the last story ended. We see the reason why he needs Mime. And what's the girl's name? Marionette. Is that they once robbed a bank. And in that robbery, Dr. Manhattan stopped them. So Vet thinks that by...
because Marionette was pregnant.
Wait, what?
Oh, yeah. You're right. She looked at his stomach and she goes, "What are you staring at?"
No, I mean, I understand what happened here, but that's okay.
But
I thought you were talking about the past one, but she's
But
pregnant.
he thinks that when they meet Dr. Manhattan, that it would shock him back to remembering who he was if he saw these two. Like it would trigger some sort of old memory, and he would be like, "Oh yeah, I used to be a superhero." So they get in the Owl ship. What's it called? Just an Owl ship?
Can't remember what it's called.
Owl plane?
Archie.
Archie, that's what it's called.
Dumb.
Steel trap.
Is he supposed to be the smartest man? Because that sounds like the dumbest plan ever.
He's the smartest man on his planet, yes.
Well, his planet. I agree with the future character then.
But I mean, when you have a guy that can manipulate time and reality, like to make him, he's omnipotent. Like you have to do
You can't
something to
shock
shock
him into something.
In Watchmen they do. He sees the watch and he remembers the whole story how it became Dr.
Yeah.
Manhattan.
Yeah. You know who else did that? Bruce Wayne and all those guys. They did that. Not Doofus over here.
So they take off and he pushes the jump into another dimension button and he blows apart
That's
all
what I want. My
the Dr. Manhattan button.
He like blows apart all those protesters. It's like
Yeah, it kills them
Oh,
all.
those were. See, now my confusion was, I didn't realize these were protesters. I thought this was them. I thought, how the hell did they die?
No, but isn't that kind of crazy? Because Vite, he's a villain.
yeah,
He thinks he's a hero.
That's what I mean.
But
He
he just
doesn't care.
blows through all these people like they're nothing.
they're going to save the universe, and for him, at least this is right in line with him how he was in Watchmen. The death of the few will save the million. So he does not care about these protesters outside of his door because it's going to save the millions that'll live from the two nuclear bombs. That
And
will go
obviously
off.
did it intentionally, it seems like. Blow up the
I
protesters,
just think
blowing
he-
up his
I think,
frickin'
but the thing
empire.
is, he goes, you know what? I have to do what I have to do the best for everyone else. These guys happen to be outside my door. Fuck them.
Yeah, right.
So
And they've only been tearing apart my entire building.
was it intentional? Maybe not.
I mean, that's like a Lex Luthor piece of
But he
thing.
intentionally chose not to save them.
Yeah, I just think he's like he's
This is
walking
Bruce from
walking on the sidewalk and he
Batman
steps on a
Begins.
bug and he's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
For him.
Sorry, bugs.
So we go
I mean,
to
really.
what we would assume is our Earth. Is that Earth Prime, you think, or a different Earth?
I think this is
Yeah.
DC Prime.
This is DC Prime.
Okay.
And he sees Batman. Batman's looking at some Rorschach test. He's like, what do you see? And Bruce is just like trying to fight through it because one time he messed up and tried to be honest and they're like, wait, you're fucked up. And so now he's trying to give them fake answers for them to be like, oh, you're good.
yacht.
You're
Yeah, he
good,
keeps
buddy.
talking about a boat.
You're good, buddy. He plays playing with the Playboy. And we see that they're in this world now. And he tells the new Rorschach, he goes, you're going to go find the second smartest man in the world. I'm going to go to the smartest man in the world. So for a second, we don't know who they're going to go to. We're just assuming. And then it turns up that
Well,
Rorschach.
they talk about it. He says to go get Wayne, and then he says he's going to get Lex Luthor.
Really? I thought he's
Oh,
just
he
like,
says
go-
it after we've realized that he's at.
No, he just says,
Maybe I assume
I'm
that.
already
I knew Lex
identified-
Luthor was smarter than Wayne.
I've already identified the two smartest people on the planet. Lex Luthor and Bruce Wayne. We go to them, explain who we are and why we're here, try and get help too. And then he's just like, which one do you want? And Ozymandias is just like, the smartest, of course. And then it cuts to Rorschach at Bruce Wayne's house.
Okay. Never mind. But still, there's no way that Vite would go talk to Batman.
So he goes talk to Batman. Batman's like,
You ate my
oh no, bro,
breakfast.
Batman's not
That
there.
was my favorite part.
Batman's out of the cave, and Rorschach figures out how to get into his cave. And the alarms go off, and that's where that ends.
Did they name drop Rorschach?
What do you mean?
Yes, Reggie.
Reggie.
Oh,
So Reggie, I wonder if you read Watchmen, if it maybe, I don't know if his
That's
that
pretty sure.
kid
that-
on the
I
stop.
think I don't remember what the name of the pirate is, but I remember Reggie being something important.
I'll look it up here in a
maybe
second.
he was
when
the
you guys
kid
talk.
that read the comic.
I think so.
I thought that was his name.
Yeah.
So maybe that theory he had from one. Correct.
Boom.
See, Winston Comics getting you kept ahead of the game. And then we got to cut to Lex Luthor and Ozymandias talking. They're like, hey, I'm the smartest man in the world. He's like, and I know you are. And he goes, he's like, oh, who are you? And he tells him, I'm the smartest in the world and you're the smartest on yours. He's like, never mind. He's like,
Did you guys enjoy the crap out of that scene? Like, I think this whole
I think it's the best
conversation
scene in this comic, yes.
Yeah. Like, so much like they're so freaking egotistical, like that they're just, it's like war, it's like chess game, but they're just talking, you know? They're just being super like suave.
And I think
like,
it's, at least for me, going back to what you're saying, I think Lex Luthor is way smarter than Ozymandias. At least he's not so. He seems like he's in control.
Yeah,
In this whole
right.
situation, where Ozymandias is kind of like
He's kind of scraping by the skin of his
he's
teeth.
like, I hope this works. Where where Lex is just like, all right, let's go. So they had locked up Mime and Marionette, and then somebody starts shooting at them. We're like, who is it? Comedian.
Best reveal.
Comedian
of this.
back.
This time I'm ready for you, he says, and he's shooting at Ozymandias because he said last time I was drunk and
You killed me.
he killed me, and so now he shoots Lex in the stomach or like in the side, grazed them, I believe.
So, do you think that Dr. Manhattan brought him back because he felt guilty?
No, I just think the comedian exists in the DC Prime world. Is what they're trying to say.
Is our version? Oh,
Or maybe Manhattan moved to DC Prime and then he made.
I'm another.
Comedian.
Oh shit!
So he's lived in this world because obviously he has the memories. He's like, I'm
Right.
going to get you this time. And then
he's got the gray tufts and he looks older and
then it cuts to Rorschach and Batman meeting. Batman goes, "You ate my breakfast," because Rorschach had to eat his pancakes, and he says, "Yeah, I did." That's how it ends. And then you see the handcuffs of Mime and Marionette got away. So
there's something else I saw up here. Metamorpho. So the whole book, you get these name drops about the Superman theory. Basically that, you read more about
speaking
it
of which,
in the back matter.
Did you read the last 3 pages?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
In the back matter, it's that there's an increase of superheroes or vigilantes in North America. So it's obviously going to pay, huge dividends in this book. But one of them they talk about is Metamorpho, and if you look in the Batcave, Metamorpho's costume is in there. I don't know if that's being too Easter eggy, but right here, that's Metamorpho's costume.
The yellow-red one?
Yep. So that
I
obviously...
hope you guys saw that, because I barely saw it, and I'm in the room.
So I love all the Easter eggs in this book, and I know it's going to come back and pay off for sure.
Oh, I was trying to figure out whose outfit we're seeing. It's Marionette's on the cover.
Yeah, Marionette's on the cover.
Mime is still fucking scary. When he goes to talk to that girl in the bank, and she's behind that bulletproof glass.
When he does that thing on the glass,
Yep.
and
he headbutts it.
I'm like, dang.
That dude's dead.
he's scary because he doesn't speak, and you don't know what he's gonna do.
And even the banker, who's or at least I'm assuming the boss, is pointing his finger at the girl, telling her, "You're fired. You're letting some guy who's fake holding a gun at you control you." Then the Marionette, when she flips over and cuts off his fingertip, fucking scary.
And he's like, I can't get in it, but it's a hand scanner. She's like, did anybody see his finger? It's a scene that has a lot of suspense. It's very tense, but also there's moments like that where it's like these two are they're the jokers of their world. They're funny, but also scary.
Yeah.
Very scary.
I want to see him actually shoot his mime gun. And see what happens.
That's the thing.
I bet it's going to happen at a crazy.
Because then when he pulls out his lockpick, there's not a lockpick there,
And he gets out.
and he gets
He's a
out.
mime.
So it's holy shit, legitimate.
Does he have a superpower? And that's what it is.
Could be.
But
Maybe
what I
just
was
bends the fabric of space and time. Who knows?
I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, the Superman theory. Superman theory, for anybody that didn't read the last 3 pages.
Tell me about it.
Is the theory that why are there so many superheroes that come from America? Why are they all American? And so they think that the conspiracy theory is that the American government is creating these superheroes for their use, and they're keeping it secret, and they're acting like they're, this guy with random superhero, here's his origin story and all this stuff, when it really is they created him. And so that's what it is. They think Superman is creation. They made up the whole story that he's from a different planet, Metamorpho, and all these people. So
And that's why Wayne Corps and Luthor Corps are butting heads, because they're trying to solve, they're trying to break down the metagene, and
they're trying to figure out how to make superheroes.
yeah.
Who's Metamorpho?
I remember what he looks like. I've only read from that Wednesday Comics.
He's going to be in
Thing came
Terrifics.
He'll be in.
Is he the one that's got all the colors?
Yep.
Okay. He can be all sorts of material.
Right.
Okay. I thought I know.
So I've never seen him in that costume. Did you?
I've only seen him in the.
Well, that's what I assumed it was. Maybe it's not.
I've never
now
seen
that
him
I
in
think
that
about
costume.
it. Now
I've
you
always
bring up
thought he
that
didn't
color.
wear. He looked like a He-Man. He didn't wear pants. He just wore
Yeah.
wrestling shorts.
Well, who the F's costume is that?
I don't know.
Robin's before. Maybe it's Signals.
I'm not sure.
So
I don't know why Bruce Wayne would have Metamorpho's costume, but
stole it. Well, they talk about someone who's got trophies like this has got a problem.
it might be Joker. His old costume.
That's not Joker's costume.
Back in the day when he's a joke.
Joker, no. Joker still
When
wore
he's a joke.
So I always wanted to see.
I really like this issue because it was them meeting for the first time, but it wasn't them coming over to our dimension and meeting the Justice League and that big fight happens. There's no real fight. I mean, there's some action, but it's more about like, here's his plan. And he's going to go to Lex Luthor for help. Like you said, you know who's the smartest man on the planet, and that's his plan. And then he goes and meets Batman. And the funny thing is that they meet a lot of confrontation at Lex Luthor's instead of Batman. Batman just is more like, okay, who are you? You ate my breakfast. Very calm about it, very trying to figure out like a detective would. And you have Lex being Lex, like Jeff Johns knows these characters.
Yeah.
Where he's like cocky until he gets a compliment from Ozymandias. He's like, all right, go on. I'll let you sit here for a little bit more. And then they both get blindsided by Comedian, which is not something out of the blue. It's something that we were kind of expecting. Maybe he might come back. You've been talking about it for the last couple of months. So, and I kept telling you there's no way. So,
dude, I'm so glad that Comedian's back. He's probably my favorite character.
Oh, he's going to be a badass. He's going to be a cynic
Especially now that
time.
he's not going to be drunk. He's just going to be kicking ass.
I thought it was fun. This whole thing's been fun. And it's we have a lot of 9-petal grids pages going back to Watchmen. And I just like the way it's paced. Every issue, it doesn't feel it's rushed. Well, I mean, of the two, but it doesn't feel like it's rushed. It feels like there's enough story in each issue where I'm like, okay, this was good, and I'm ready for the next one.
I read issue 1 right before. Sorry, I read issue 1 right before this, and like it reads so smooth together. Also, I was going to point out, what do you guys think about Dr. Manhattan's new costume change? He's got M underwear.
Yeah,
never noticed that.
What?
Watchmen. He's got M underwear.
I would rather just see that blue penis.
Didn't he used to have that before too?
I had blue dong or just normal underwear.
No, he had underwear when he was part of the Watchmen. He had a suit like that.
Not M.
Pretty sure.
I think it's ironic just how he's formed. I think it looks like an M, but generally he does have blue pants or blue.
This is a flashback.
I know it is, but they're not going to show blue dong in this book.
I know, but he's worn this before.
Not in this.
Wait, this is a flashback?
Yeah.
It is a flash. Why? It's not current time. How would it be current
They're telling
time?
the story how Dr. Manhattan met them. That's the reason why they're on this trip.
Okay.
It's because Ozymandias thinks that Dr. Manhattan will remember them and be like, oh, yeah, I used to be a superhero.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm seeing a lot of blue dong.
I know he's got pants because they...
Just type in Dr. Manhattan.
No M. From all the images I've been seeing so far, I'll find one from Watchmen. So hold on. Keep going.
I tell you what,
I give this a 10.
Yes.
I loved
this
it.
This is a 10.
Yeah,
if this is the momentum for the rest of the series. Also, if we look at the back cover, do you notice that the clock is getting closer? Obviously, that's going to happen. But there's something up here. Blood. So I bet something is going to be, maybe these covers will connect in the back, or something crazy is going to happen on this back cover.
Just blood.
I think it's blood crawling down, running down the book.
What? What do you mean that's blood? Oh, I mean it's going to come shooting down here. Yeah. Oh, cool. That'd be
like
sweet.
when it did in Watchmen.
Yeah, but you don't get 12 covers of blood dripping down a thing.
If you've read,
it's like the clock going towards it.
Yes,
it's coming down.
I think Jeff Johns' assessment before he started the series is still accurate. That all you need to have read before this started is Watchmen, and
have a general sense of who superheroes are.
Yeah, because so far nothing really from Rebirth has shown up. It mostly is Watchmen stuff. So. Yeah. And it's mostly their story about coming to find Dr. Manhattan to save their world.
But in all honesty, even not reading Watchmen, this book is pretty...
Right. His underwear was like M style.
It's pretty good about telling you what's going on. I mean, I agree. You want to know who Dr. Manhattan is. You want to know who Ozymandias is. Rorschach. You want to know who these characters are. But like Rorschach's not the same Rorschach as he was before.
It's different, yeah.
So I agree.
Well, it is like a direct sequel. He did die in the spoilers for Watchmen. He did die. So, but I mean, like, so far there's not been a lot of DC stuff. It's been more Watchmen stuff. And it mainly is from their point of view trying to save their world rather than what's happened in Rebirth. It's like that kind of story. I'm sure we'll get information about that, but I don't think if you've never read that DC Universe Rebirth special or anything like that, I think you should have read Watchmen and be like, okay, where does that story go from there? And read this to be fine. And then all the other stuff, you're probably like, oh, that's cool, but you won't know like how it connects to DC at all.
And there's another thing I thought of. Vite did mention that Dr. Manhattan could be in disguise as one of the heroes that we know in
That's
that
what
universe.
So it might be somebody in Rebirth that's out there right now, and then
we've been reading for 2 years.
Boom,
and
it's
Dr. Manhattan the whole time.
Probably Blue Beetle. No one wanted to read that book.
Come on.
Hey, maybe Booster Gold.
Booster Gold?
He just came back. No, that'd be too much. What if it's Superman? And all those years, all this last 2 years of Superman, you're like, isn't that actually him?
That would suck. That'd be somebody else.
It's Superman right here.
Huh?
Oh,
Yeah.
it's Lois Lane. By the way,
John.
Oh, that would suck. What if it was
Dude,
John?
get over Superman
oh,
stuff.
it might be John. That's
Dude,
a good possibility.
you just blew my mind. Whoever said John? Did you say John?
He did.
I said John.
You literally just did it. You pointed. You
That
talked.
I'm the one who just told you
Holy
to shut up
shit.
about the Superman stuff and being
It might be
Dude.
John because he's a brand new character that could be written out without any kind of. I mean, it would be a blow to Superman and Lois, obviously, but
There's no repercussions.
I've been saying since it started that he's going to die one day. But what if he doesn't die and it's just that he never actually existed?
Oh my God.
And then the whole story. That's why Superman's involved and everything.
Do you think if we tweet Jeff Johns that Dr. Manhattan's John, that he'll I don't know,
that would be
arrest us?
an interesting?
How did you find out about this?
That would be great. That'd be because like literally he was in the first issue. I mean, since Rebirth, he's been all over the place,
No.
everywhere.
Yeah, if John's in this series at all, it's going to be John.
Damn. We
yeah,
spoiled it for
this was
ourselves.
10
Sorry, guys.
I like the way this, like I said, it's paced in a way where it doesn't feel like it feels like Jeff Johns knows what this story is and how he's going to tell it and how like the beats for every issue. It doesn't feel like he's just like writing per issue and you know what I mean? And like catching up. It feels like he has 12 issues already written and he already paced and be like, this is going to happen in issue 1, 2, 3, and 4. So each issue feels satisfying. As you said, it feels like enough happens where I feel like, oh, okay, that's cool. And enough of a cliffhanger where I'm like, what's going to happen next? Yeah. And I always look forward to the next issue. And how much is this? $3.99?
$4.99.
Yeah, still. You get the nice cover and it's Gary Frank art.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I'd always pay extra for Gary Frank. He is such a
Color's
great
good
artist.
too. Brad
Yep.
Anderson. So 10.
Yeah, that was a good book. That actually probably was my pick of the week of what I had.
Yeah, it was so much fun to read.
It was mine too.
You know, I keep telling myself I'm going to read 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. But I'm like, at some point, when I get to issue 11, I'm going to be screwed.
Well, especially when I give you 6 other books that I have to read that week.
I know. I'm like, ugh. But I mean, it's so good.
This is one of
I
those
just don't want to
things
forget anything from the first couple issues and then come back.
I agree. I mean, but it's one of those books that it is so good that I don't blame you for wanting to probably read at least the first 6.
Yeah.
And then you're like,
back to
okay,
back.
now I'm caught up.
I got what's going on.
Yeah. If you read it every month like that, then yes, you should be pretty well caught up on it.
By the way, go to YouTube, go watch the Wednesday Comics video. You can see Garrett staring through the camera when Alex told him about John and he blew his mind. And then
Did
you can
blow my
also see
mind.
about...
I blew your mind, and then you forgot that I blew
Dr. Manhattan put it all back in my head and said, just don't worry
And then
about
also you can see about 10 seconds ago when I spilled green tea all over myself. So go ahead.
I missed it.
So I'll have to watch the video just for that. You know what also actually was a big book for me this week was Thanos number 14, written by Donnie Cates and art by Jeff Shaw.
This issue was amazing.
Yes.
It was so good. Basically, if you don't know anything about Thanos, like I've said on the forecast, if you're interested in Thanos because of the upcoming Infinity War movie, and you're like, how do I learn about this character? Jump on this series because in this issue specifically, they tell you his whole story in a way that's not like, okay, this is retread. Mm-hmm. In a way that I felt was like, because they talk about how everything in time time is not linear. It happens all at once.
Yeah.
So with the day that Thanos was born is the day that Thanos won. The day that
once the bullet being created killed that person.
They talk about how when the bullet was created the day it killed the person that got shot, and all this stuff about how time is happening all at once, and so it tells you his whole story, being like all this happened at once, and it has throwbacks to Infinity War, it has throwbacks to Annihilation, it throwbacks to Thanos,
Johnny Blaze.
Yeah.
Yes.
It throwbacks to
we told you to get the last
the
issue.
Infinity story from Jonathan Hickman, like in the art. Jeff Shaw in this issue kicked this out of the park. There's some 2-page spreads, and we talk about all the time how sometimes they're too flashy. No, that was necessary for the story, I think.
This actually, being I've read it, would be one of my top picks of just issues. Because I read this issue and I was just, it was so good.
Like even that first page, look at that. The way that it's a full page spread of his face, but there's panels to separate, to control the pacing. That's all it's for, is to control your eye, to make sure that you read like this and that you take time to read them. That is, in Donny Cates is kind of a new person. I mean, we've been gloating about Donny Cates for a while on this show, but this was like a masterclass in how you pace the book. Like this whole issue was like, went through his whole story. So look, we got Infinity Gauntlet up here. We have him versus, and then here's also from that Mephisto, him and Adam Warlock, and we have him up here with him fighting Drax, and that's the Annihilation event. And then we have here Hickman's Infinity story, and so like, and then we cut to this also is that's in the future, and then we have the future, how he takes out everybody, and how
old man Thanos won.
Death did not want to do anything with Thanos, so he lived forever because he evaded death, and everyone else though death came for, and it just tells the story and how he killed everybody, and then we see him and by the way, there's a panel here where he captures Black Bolt, and was it Celestials? Yeah, it was Celestials. Are like walking towards him. And you're like, oh, how is he going to beat fucking Celestials? He has Black Bolt tied up. He punches him in the stomach so that he...
I think he stabs him in the gut.
Oh, he stabs him in the gut so that way he yelps. And the yelp is enough powerful to destroy the Celestials. Because, obviously if he makes any noise, it's going to destroy them. And he kills literally 2 birds with 1 stone.
I got to show this. This is the destruction of Celestials.
Who did the coloring in this book?
Fabella.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Antonio.
Coloring was great too. The whole art team on this was excellent.
This whole. I mean, I realize it's only been 2 issues, but these 2 issues are just so good.
The only thing that bugs me, there's 2 things that bug me a little bit, but not enough that I'm going to be like, oh, this book. It doesn't take it down any in my eyes at all. It's just like I feel like it could maybe be too much. Is Ghost Rider, his little goofy, like the way he's basically Deadpool in this book, which kind of there's no fourth. He's not breaking the fourth wall, but he's very jokey and very like he swears every 2 words.
But I think it's one of those things that he's lived as long as Thanos is. He's probably gone in. I mean, he's insane probably by now.
Yeah, but that's probably
he's got no friend. His friend is the boss. He
can't die. So Thanos was like, let's test that theory. He's like, all right.
Just picks him up by his head, and I loved so there's a start of a fight. Garrett, this may be spoilers if you decide to get this book.
That's okay. It's my fault for not picking it up at the beginning.
So like Thanos, old man, I'm going to call it old man Thanos and young man Thanos are face to face talking, and did young man Thanos punch? He hit he hits old man.
Yeah,
and
he goes.
Please. He says, please. It was to not kill or hurt Ghost Rider.
Oh, yeah, he goes, please
don't hurt him.
Yeah.
And it just pisses young man Thanos off.
And then he punches him.
And
he goes, we need your help. He's on his knees. He goes, I need your help.
Please.
And he's like, if you are who you say you are, he goes, there's no way I would say please or beg. He goes, you're supposed to be King Thanos and you're begging. And he goes, how am I supposed to believe that you're me? And he tells him the story and what his mom actually named him before she named him Thanos. And Thanos has never told anybody that. And so he's like, you are me. And he goes, well, okay. He's like, okay, so what do we want to do? He goes, I need your help bringing somebody back. And he goes, who? And the last page, they point to a statue of Death. And he's like, I need Death to come back. Because nobody can die anymore because she's gone. So
isn't that his lady?
Yeah, and he loves Death. And so he's in this world with it's him and Ghost Rider, and there's nothing else alive, but they can't die because Death's not there anymore. So
you guys suck. I'm gonna go back and get those.
Dude,
it's a grand story, and the art's amazing, and it really surprises.
But their fist fight is great.
Yeah,
because it's just young man Thanos beating the shit out of old man until I don't even remember when the fight turns, and it's just one of those things where old man grabs his fist and then beats the shit out of him and goes, "I just need your help. This is what you need to do." Here's the story.
Oh, we forgot to mention that old man, the King Thanos, also like blasts Thanos away because because he's like beating him up, and finally he's like stop, and he like blows him away, and that's when he stops and it's like, okay, how am I supposed to believe you and who you are? And that's when he tells him the story about his mom. But also in that we get Thanos without his helmet because he blows him away and his helmet falls off. So I think it's the first time I see Thanos without his helmet.
No, in Annihilation, they show you without his helmet.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Which I think.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Maybe that's what the whole thing for the movie is coming up, is that the Annihilation
Still looks weird without his helmet, even in the comics.
He does look weird, but at least
but we know he can grow hair because King Thanos has hair. So
got a beard.
He just shaves it. Probably.
This was a 10 out of 10 for me.
Yeah,
I loved this issue. This had everything I wanted, and I think part of this filled that void of violence and beat the shit out of somebody.
This is so. What I loved about God Country was that it had that action and it had this other story about their their dad at the time and the daughter's grandfather having Alzheimer's. So there was drama, but there was action. But I think where that book had a little issue for me, at least, is that he was also at the time trying to build a world. So having it be in a miniseries for me kind of felt incomplete. And this, Donny Cates and Jeff Shaw have the benefit of having this world already built. So they don't have to work on that. So what they're doing in this world is similar to that in a way. It has a lot of action, but there's also a nice like story going along with it, that a nice drama of how King Thanos is and how he came to be. That I think this book is the best parts of God Country. And if you enjoy that book, I would say definitely get this book.
Damn it, guys.
It surprises me because I really liked that book, but I expected to get this book and be like, oh, they're doing something crazy with this. I don't want it. But those two, the last issue and this issue especially, like the last issue I thought was great. And I was like, you can only go downhill from here. And this issue was better than that last issue. Thanos wins. It's 2 issues in. Sergeant America on our YouTube said he might, if he can find it, pick it up. And I said, you have to jump on this thing. Like, this thing is great.
I think if you're not getting this book, I think you're missing out.
If there's any Marvel book to get right now, this might be, since we have one's ending, this might be the book to jump onto and get going. Especially, like I said, if you're looking forward to that Avengers movie, you want to know more about Thanos, here you go. Especially like this last season.
I know you're mad that we're talking to you about getting this book, but to be fair, you guys sucked me into JL, so suck it.
Well, I get sucked into too many things to come back to.
Jeff Shaw is really, I can't praise the art enough.
I think
art of this issue is amazing.
Yes, agreed.
Really enjoyed it. Really fun. Fun in a way that's like, it's usually not fun to see a guy beat everything and be super powerful, but it's interesting to see a guy that does that all and then at the end is not happy still. And then he has to go back to the past to be like, I need your help, to his younger self. Usually we see somebody in the past or somebody that's younger find their older self, like in Thor, for instance, and the older guy is more mature and knows how to help him. In this one, the older guy is like, I need your help because you're more vicious than I am. Like, he's grown, not weak, he's grown mature in his age, and he understands that, like, you don't need to kill everything. Where that young Thanos is like, I'm out for blood and I want to kill everything. Yep. And he needs that person.
My hope is that when they I understand eventually they will probably find Death and bring her back. Just don't let it be where, and I'm sure we'll have to kill old man Thanos off. But I want to know that young Thanos is still going to be that horrendous mutant thing that he is, and is still going to kick some
We'll
ass.
see. I'm interested to take the ride and see where we're
I know. I really am. I love this issue. I love this series right now, only being 2 issues in.
Yeah, I hope if there's any Marvel Legacy book that really did act as a jumping on point, I think this is one. Mm-hmm. You got this and Captain America are really ones that like shifted and we're like, we're doing a brand new thing. And I think both of those are worth, especially this one, worth jumping on and being like, okay, let's see where this goes. You don't have to go back and get the first 12.
No.
You can jump on 13. I jumped on 13.
The only thing you have to know and I don't think even were you confused on what happened in 13?
No.
Okay.
I got it.
It's a whole different set. I mean, he's Thanos. That's all you need to know.
Excellent choices this week. We got Thanos number 14.
So I got one more book.
Oh, you got one more book. All right. Sorry, I forgot about that.
I'm sure it'll be pretty quick.
I'll shut off.
Yeah.
No, take your time. I'll shut off my mic.
God Complex number 3, written by Paul Jenkins and Brian Lai, with art by Hendry Prasietta. I can usually say his name. Hendry Prasietta or Prasietta. I usually can say it, but whatever. I can't right now.
I can't say it out loud.
The artist from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So we get Seneca, who's the lead investigator.
Yep.
He comes home when he's investigating the Church of Trinity to find the Church of Trinity in his house. They confronted his girlfriend or like colluded her, and now she's kind of with them because what they're trying to do is because I say colluded. Oh. Well, because basically there's how this book's set up is there's gods that are basically in control of the infrastructure of the city of Delphi. And they see everything, quote unquote. But there's a resistance basically, and that's what this Church of the Trinity is. At least that's what they're pretending to be, so that they don't want to get caught obviously by these all-powerful gods or technological gods. So Seneca is just getting further and further into this mystery, trying to find out, because what happened last issue is there was 3 dead cops with their tongues cut out, laying on the. Oh, that was the first issue.
That was the first issue.
Yep, laying on the street with.
Because last issue his partner died.
Right, the last issue his partner died, and it had the sign of the Church of Trinity on there, thinking that the Church of Trinity killed him, when actually his partner was part of the Church of Trinity. So he goes to the Church of Trinity, talks to a priest there, doesn't find any answers, leaves, and I can't quite remember how it ends.
He runs into Hermes.
Oh, right.
And is talking to Hermes about what he didn't find out. Then Hermes tells him, are you on our team or not?
Yeah, and then it kind of cliffhangs.
Yeah, that's kind of, yeah. So I assume your gripe is Athena's on the cover.
Where the
she
hell
is
she?
literally not in the book.
She's not in one single
not
page.
even mentioned in the book.
Yeah. Stupid.
To be fair, I give this cover credit. I think these credits are great, or these covers are great.
Yeah, these covers are awesome.
I don't know who's on the next cover. I'm assuming it may be Ares.
Yeah,
it's a male. It's a male god. It's not Apollo and it's not Hermes. I'm guessing it's Ares. But I guess I'm wanting a little bit more gods in this book.
Yeah.
More than just Hermes.
Which is why, I think Marvin would love this book, because it's a lot like Blade Runner. Like, it's not rushing, it's very slow. You learn details slowly, and then I can tell it's building. And the art is amazing.
Yeah.
Prosciutto, I can't do it tonight. His art is fantastic, and especially in like a digital world that kind of looks like Tron mixed with, futuristic, wherever Blade Runner takes place.
I'm assuming Delphi's got to be Philadelphia.
Could be. I'm not sure.
But it was good. This is one of those books I'm actually going to give probably a couple more issues to keep me drawn. It's good.
Right.
But it's
got to give us a little more meat.
Yeah. I say right now I'm eating a small little chicken wing. I want to find that turkey leg. That's
you want an 8-ounce steak.
I do.
Like a little girl, or you want a 24-ounce steak like a man.
I want the man steak.
Yeah, me too. I'd give this issue an 8. I think that, like we said, it's building. It's only 3 issues in. Still plenty of time to keep us engaged and excited for what's coming next. So
I give it a 7. I enjoyed it. Hopeful we can get that 24-ounce steak.
Yep.
So, Marvin, wake up from your siesta.
Oh, by the way, I lied. Doomsday Clock wasn't my pick. That was my pick. I forgot. That book is. I just looked through it again.
Thanos. What book is this?
Excellent. Thanos. Yeah,
okay. That's why I asked.
There's that 2-page spread when young Thanos uppercuts old Thanos and he flies.
Right through that wall?
Perfect.
Yeah. I tell you, it's one of those books that this is so much fun. And I'm not trying to make...
Looks like I'm going right to the shop after work tomorrow, boys.
I'm not trying to rub it into you. I think, Garrett, you need to have this book.
There's also that scene, and it shows you, like, this art isn't just about Flash. It's also about, like, the way he shows emotion on Thanos' face.
Flash?
What?
Yeah, the art's not just about Flash. It's just
flashy.
Okay. Flashy.
Okay,
it's
right.
To be fair, I got confused. I thought, well, of course, it's not about Flash, you dumb shit. It's about Thanos.
But it is also about emotion. There's that scene when Thanos is born and he's a kid, and his mom looks at him, and you see the innocence on his face. He's just like, he's not bad at that point. He's just Thanos. But she sees like the evil in his eyes, and she gets lost in his eyes and goes crazy. And then later on, when old Thanos says his original name that his mom gave him, young Thanos that looks the same way at him with that face being like, how do you know, like that innocence again being like, how do you know when
you couldn't possibly know that?
And it's just that moment where you see like he has the same face as when he was a kid, and it's just like that's enough for Thanos to like that's enough to defeat him in that moment. And I just saw that part right now and made me love that book more. That was Thanos, number 14. Doomsday Clock, number 2 of 12. And we have Punisher Platoon, number 4. We have God Complex, number 3. We have Go-Go Power Rangers, number 5. And we have
Kamandi Challenge,
number 12 of 12. The ending. Great comics this week, at least the ones I read. I don't know about these guys. I didn't listen to any of your reviews. I will when I edit the show. But we are.
I bet
you didn't want to listen to them twice. I get it.
I understand that.
Siouxpercon 2018, The Return of the Con, September 28th, 29th, and 30th. Featuring guests like Tony Fleece, Shay Fontana, Science Steve, and brought to you by Wednesday Comics, Phil Hester. Phil Hester is an Eisner Award-winning comic book artist. Phil is from Iowa. He's known for his runs on Nightwing, The Flash, Season 0, Teen Titans, and many more. He's currently drawing Batman Beyond for DC and Shipwreck for Aftershock. Wednesday Comics is proud to present Phil Hester at Siouxpercon. Go to siouxpercon.com for more information. We are going to talk about, instead of this week's books, we're talking about what we're looking forward to in the good old 2018. That's 2018, 2018, 18 years after the Y2K. We're talking about books that have been announced and have a team that we're looking forward to. But this isn't a top 5 or anything like that. We're just talking about 3 books each. We're going to throw them out there and tell you what we think about them and talk about it round table style. We'll go first with Garrett. Actually, let's go with me because I have pulled up here already. I see your soul.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to find. I was using DC's site to do anything, and it just sucks.
So I'm not going to tell you what anything of these books are about. I just have them written down so I know what they're called.
Well, you're supposed to tell me what they're about. So hopefully,
good thing you got that.
Good thing I have this pulled up.
I can do mine if it's ready. If you're ready for me.
All right, yeah, I'll go.
All right. So my first one I'm looking forward to for 2018 is the Immortal Men number 1. Got some on DC's website, so I can't read the team, but it's written by James Tynion IV with art by Jim Lee. And the description is the end of forever, followed us. That's not what I saw. Shit. Sorry, I'm using DC's website, and that's all glitchy.
Oh, by the way, yes.
Oh, here it is. The End of Forever Part 1. There is a secret history to the DC Universe of Heroes, and it just erased for some reason. Sorry. DC, you need to fix your website. It's horrible.
What book is this?
The Immortal Man number 1.
Okay.
The End of Forever Part 1.
No, I just don't know. I couldn't remember what the
There is a
book
secret
was.
history to the DC Universe of Heroes who have protected humanity from the shadows since the dawn of time, and who can live forever. Enter the Immortal Men. The team headed by the Immortal Man has waged a secret war against the House of Conquest for countless years. But Conquest has dealt a devastating blow. When their base of operations, known as the Campus, is savagely attacked, the Immortal Men must seek out their last hope, an emerging metahuman known as Caden Park. Caden's emerging powers may be able to ensure the Immortal Men's survival, but will Conquest get to him first? I just like the idea of like heroes existing for all of time. You can see him through all the different ages. I mean, I think we got a taste that in Old Guard by Greg Rucka.
Yeah.
So I think this will be DC's version of it. And yes, I mean, Jim Lee's art looks great on this cover.
How many issues you give Jim Lee before he's done?
Yeah, I know.
3.
That's the bummer is, I don't know. I feel like he's been working on at least the first couple, but yeah, I'd say 3 issues.
Who's writing that book?
James Tynion IV.
James Tynion,
writer of Detective Comics.
We've shown that he's stronger in Rebirth, so yeah, it's a good book to look forward to. Depends if Jim Lee stays on it or not, but
I'm sure they could find it. As long, what if Eddie Barrows from Detective Comics
Eddie, yeah.
comes on after Jim Lee? Oh, baby.
But I don't think he could stay on it either.
Yeah, he could. He's been on Detective Comics more often than that.
Not lately.
Like one issue every 12.
He's doing what Otto Schmidt
Doing
does.
arcs. Don't bring up Otto Schmidt. It's too soon.
Yeah, that all of their Dark Matter books look interesting at least, and so that was also one that was on my radar to be like. You said they're all $2.99, right?
What I saw on the solicits, they're priced at $2.99 each.
And what's excellent about these books, and we talked about it last week a little bit, I believe it was last week or 2 weeks ago, that DC is these are artists first books, so they're putting the artists first, being like promoting them based on who the art is. So it's nice to see they might be a book that's more art based, and so I'm interested to see what that means. And so I'll pick it up too, just to see.
I'm gonna get most of the metal number 1s. I think because like I was telling these guys, it's basically a Marvel that the Marvel you want hidden in the DC universe. Like Damage will be my Bruce Banner Hulk. Sideways will be my Peter Parker Spider-Man that I want.
Oh, okay. I was like,
that's what I'm saying. What I want.
Oh,
yeah.
I believe not Jeff.
Terrifics, Fantastic Four.
Jim Lee said that this is DC. Like DC is giving the creators more free reign on these on this line of books. So I'm also interested to see what that means.
Yeah.
If they're a little bit more mature, or if that means they can do whatever they want. So we'll see. Alex, what's first on your list? I got to pull it up here. I'll tell you what it's about.
Okay, good. I got Gideon Falls by Jeff Lemire and art by Andrea Sorrentino.
Gideon Falls, a brand new ongoing series from the acclaimed best-selling creative team of Old Man Logan and Green Arrow. The lives of a recluse young man obsessed with a conspiracy in the city's trash, and a washed-up Catholic priest arriving in a small town full of dark secrets become intertwined around the mysterious legend of the Black Barn, an otherworldly building that is alleged to have appeared in both the city and small town throughout history, bringing death and madness in its wake. Rural mystery and urban horror collide in a character-driven meditation on obsession, mental illness, and faith. Why are you looking forward to this book?
I don't even know what I just heard from that.
To me, it kind of seems like Darkness Falls, or like maybe like The Grudge or something like that, where there's something that has been through history, like in the background, kind of haunting different parts of history. Or you can even think about the Joker when the Dionysium arc, where he's in the past. Like there's 3 different Jokers.
Oh,
there's one of him when he's like a long time ago, like when like over 100 years. You know, you see him in
the gangster and
the gangster area, and then now. So it's kind of like that thing in the corner, like you know, caused a lot of grief, but you don't know everything about it.
I think for me, it's one of those. This is a book that I've seen Sorrentino art on Old Man Logan, which I thought was excellent.
Yep.
Jeff Lemire, like we've said a bazillion times, this is his year to shine. That I think 2018 is not going to be any different.
Right.
I feel like he's been given the opportunity to just write what he wants to write. And if we're talking Terrifics eventually tonight, or at least I know it's coming out in 2018, if we're getting free reign on his books on DC and his Royal City, Gideon Falls, Black Hammer, am I moving too much?
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, that guy's going to win.
He's been acing. I mean, I'm so excited to be reading his books and to be in this Jeff Lemire time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this book also. It says in the solicit here something that I'm very interested in. Jeff Lemire is actually great about examining, if we go back to his Moon Knight run, is that it deals with mental illness a lot and obsession, and that's what a lot about that run is. So you have a guy who's obsessed with the trash company thinking there's some sort of conspiracy, and I think we'll get an interesting look in seeing if it's actually real or if this guy's just like crazy. And thinking about all this stuff. So it's a very interesting concept. Sorrentino's art's great. Jeff Lemire, like you said, has been on a good run, so I'm definitely checking that out. My first book is I'm drinking tea all night, but now my throat really hurts. So
yeah, because tea dries out your throat. At least caffeine does.
Spoilers.
Well,
my first book I'm going to talk about is, for some reason, was loaded, and now it's not loaded on my page, but I'll talk about it. Ivan, Brandon, and Isaac Rubik coming out with Versus for Image Comics. Oh, by the way, Gideon Falls comes out in March. That's the first issue hits. When's Immortal Man come out?
Mortal Men comes out in, it's solicited for her December.
Oh, they delayed those books.
They delayed it. So
they delayed them, so we're not sure yet.
So it's probably January, February.
Holy shit.
This is last month, you mean? This is coming out, I believe. Is this going to load, or what's going to happen here?
I know. Something's happening. We're in the freaking dead
Falls
zone. We talked about Lost too much. We're in those freaking numbers. That's why.
Here's the gist of this. I'm not going to read it word for word, but I did read this earlier. A Versus basically is in the future, war is privatized, and it's more for entertainment. Yeah. So Versus is going to be this guy who always wins, finally loses. And what does that really mean? And the examination of war, politics in the future. We have Isaac Rubik art. I don't know how long that he's going to be on that book, but we'll get him on that book. There's at least 2 issues solicited. It comes out in February.
I feel like they'll do a kind of like 7-week journey. Maybe they'll do like, or like even East of West. Well, I guess East of West is more delayed, but they'll do an arc, take a break, do an arc, take a break.
The reason why this is on my radar, I mean, it's Rubik, but also like I saw a preview for it, and a lot of at least the preview was a lot of the art telling the story, which is kind of what I enjoy more in comics. And so it sounds like I like sci-fi books, and the concept itself sounds like it might be cool to read. So as long as it keeps up with the team and the book doesn't get delayed, I'm guarantee you right now, there's a 90% chance this book gets delayed. But
delays are fine as long as you're actually getting the team.
Now,
The preview looks great.
delays are fine, but I'm saying as a Rubik, it might be 2 issues, and then we might not get another one for like a year. So.
Well,
Yeah, it's kind
But
of danger zone.
It's interesting. I'm looking forward to it in 2018. Oh, by the way, you're getting Falls colors by Dave Stewart, so that also is a plus for me. So.
Nice.
that'd be nice.
My second book is Sideways #1, written by Dan DiDio and Justin Jordan, and art and cover by Kenneth Rocafort. During the events of Dark Knight's Metal, high school junior Derek James accidentally fell through a rift into the dark matter dimension. Now, as Sideways, he can create rifts in midair to leap through dimensions at will. But with that much power comes great liability. Spider-Man pun.
Wow.
Anybody? And cracks are starting to form in the fabric of space-time continuum. Like I said, I think this is going to parallel to a Spider-Man version.
No
in
shit.
DC.
Did you not just hear that
I know.
ridiculous pun?
I know. I'm just explaining. Like, I'm excited because, like, I think this is a fun way to bring like a young teen hero into the mix that's not dragged down by, ancestry, not dragged down by the Bat family, the Superman family, Wonder Woman family,
He's his
anybody.
own character.
It's your own character dealing with their own herodom, and I love the idea that this character can go through dimensions. Makes me think of, it makes me think more of like Stranger Things. How it's kind of like they can go through dimensions, like
That's the upside down.
Yeah. Yeah, some people think that's folded space. There's a dimension, which is the upside down, and there's another dimension on each side. Who knows?
You were saying this is a lot like Spider-Man, but it is a different kind of story. At least, like, I think DC has tried to replicate Spider-Man a bunch of times, but hopefully with this one, and it sounds like is a very interesting concept that they get it right. Yeah, that's Spider-Man.
Yeah,
it's framed like a Spider-Man cover. I mean, but Kenneth Rocafort on art, amazing. But again,
Justin Jordan's
another
a great
one
writer.
that could get delayed. Not as much as Assad Rivik, but I mean,
We'll see.
and I love Justin Jordan as a writer. When I told Marvin before the show, I am nervous that Dan DiDio is helping write because, like,
Dan's done some good stories, but he also has done some stories where I'm like, yeah.
well, let's think about the Christmas special.
Well,
I mean, whatever the hell that was.
Let's not think about that.
Yeah.
He did Phantom Stranger during New 52. That was all right.
Well, and it also makes me think of another Marvel character. Is it the Dot? Is his name that he can travel through his own
Spot.
And for some reason, that always mystified me.
But I didn't think he traveled through
not dimensions.
Dimensions.
But I mean, it just makes me
travels through
think
space.
of him because you can see that he travels through rifts.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I think it'll be fun.
Like vibe, you're saying.
Kind of, yeah. I think so. I think it'll be fun, like good action scenes. I like that they're obviously in a city. It looks like New York. Is that the Empire State Building?
Looks
Yes,
like
it
it.
is. So, okay, Sideways in New York City in a Spider-Man pose. I mean, come on.
I can't get more cliche than that.
Right.
I think that might actually be a book I will try. Just
Yeah.
the fact that I love Rocafort art.
Right. That art is hard to pass up.
Alex, what's your next one?
It's from the Black Hammer universe, Dr. Star and the Kingdom of the Lost Tomorrows.
This dual narrative story set in the world of the Eisner Award-winning Black Hammer series chronicles the legacy of a golden age superhero. An aged crime fighter desperately wants to reconnect with his estranged son, who he has hoped one day would take the mantle of Dr. Star. Over the course of the story, we learn his World War II era origin, how he got his powers, his exciting astral adventures, the formation of some of Black Hammer's greatest heroes, and more in this heartbreaking superhero tale about fathers and sons. Did you say who this is by?
No, I didn't. I know it's Jeff Lemire as the writer.
Jeff Lemire and Max Fumara on art, and also Dave Stewart on colors. 2 for 2 for Dave Stewart.
Running up
And Jeff Lemire. I think maybe they like each other, so that's why they do.
sounds like it.
This is definitely on my radar too, because that Sherlock Frankenstein is amazing. The Black Hammer is great, and then now we have
the
Dr.
cover?
Star. That's
I
cool.
haven't seen the cover yet.
We talked about how this guy is in Sherlock, Frankenstein.
Yeah.
And so now we're just, these books have like kind of dominoed into each other to be like, oh, who's that guy? Oh, here's about that guy. And so
I think this is one of those books that now that we're so far, not so far in, but all three of us have enjoyed the Black Hammer universe, that this is just a shoe-in that we have to get. At some point in time, it all will come together and all time
and
together.
I think kind of piggybacking over what you said about the last book, 2017 was the year of Jeff Lemire. I don't think we would be dumb to be like, oh, Jeff Lemire has a new book coming out. I'm not going to get it.
Yeah.
Like every single book he put out last year was like great. So anything he'll put out this year, I'll give it a chance at the very least. So I am looking forward to that a lot. It's good. Good. My number 2, we'll talk about it here, is somebody who, now you guys been talking a lot about the Generation Gone.
Yes.
And it's a book that you want me to pick up. I decided I'll read it in trade. It's kind of too late to jump in.
Well, it seems like he's going to do it in volumes anyway. So
Speaking of that, his new book coming out, Alice Cott, art by Tengel Zazili and Jordi Blair on colors, is called Days of Hate. It's 1 of 12. And by the way, speaking of it doing it in chunks, this is 1 of 12, and this is called Days of Hate Act 1. So I believe it's also going to be in volumes. The loss, here's the concept. The United States and America, 2022. The loss that ripped them apart drove one into the arms of a police state, and the other one towards a guerrilla war against the white supremacy. Now they meet again. This is the story of war. I think I've been asking for a politic book that's not about a supernatural or sci-fi thing in politics. It's 5 years from now. It's set 5 years from now, so it's enough to get it away from the current political climate and be like, what if we continue down this path, where are we going to go? And so I'm very interested to see. The art looks great. I've looked up a preview to see a political book from Alice Cott, to see just a politic book. Obviously, that's what I've been asking for. So like when I saw this one, and the covers look so great.
they look amazing.
I was just like, I have to get this book. So I am.
And I think, you know what? I think Alice Cott got redemption for me for Generation Gone. So I think he can pull off a 12-issue series. And Busted, we know you have to do 12 issues. So try to delay that.
3 already solicited, so he's already got 3. So at least you get the first 3.
It's 1/4 of the way done.
1/4 of the way done. And I think this is going to be an interesting story of politics, but also, like you said, one person went to the police state, one person went to the guerrilla state, and it's about bringing 2 people together. So we're going to get also it's going to be a nice human drama story also. So it's not just going to be about politics. So, but there's nothing about this that tells me, oh, this is some crazy concept. It's basically like just a true politics book. And so that's what I've been looking forward to. So thank you, Alice Scott, for answering my prayers. Garrett, what's your last one?
My last one is Oblivion Song, with story by Robert Kirkman, art by Lorenzo De Felici and Annalisa Leone. A decade ago, 300,000 citizens of Philadelphia were suddenly lost in oblivion. The government made every attempt to recover them, but after many years they gave up. Nathan Cole won't. He makes daily trips, risking his life to try and rescue those still living in the apocalyptic hellscape of oblivion. But maybe Nathan is looking for something else. Why can't he resist the siren call of the Oblivion Song? This is Robert Kirkman's next big venture. You know, he's created the Walking Dead universe, and this is his next big thing. I mean, he's done Invincible. This is his new comic. It's supposed to be kind of an apocalyptic story. I mean, you see that he's going to a landscape that's apocalyptic, and I'm really excited. I saw the preview art. It looks really good. Can't wait to be on a first issue. I've never been on a first issue that Robert Kirkman's ever done, so I'm excited to have my first series that he's written the first issue for me. I think it's going to be a good book.
The last first issue I got from him was Super Dinosaur, and I'm still waiting for the other issues.
Delayed.
I'm pretty sure canceled. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's gone. It's been 4 years.
But there's a lot of hype around this. I mean, there's a limited edition set for $200 that you can get the first issue, you get a print, you get a statue, you get a whole bunch of stuff, which maybe I'm tempted to get. We'll see.
I'll get the first issue and I'll be content.
Robert Kirkman is now a writer that is kind of he's a phenomenon because he has this Walking Dead show. People like mainstream knows Robert Kirkman.
Yeah.
They know because he's on Talking Dead and all the time and stuff like that. So he's made himself a personality that the mainstream knows. So this is a brand new book. People who know Robert Kirkman from that show obviously are probably going to be jumping on. This probably is going to be a big book in terms of numbers, in terms of publicity and all that stuff. So I am interested to see. But also, like, if we're going to go back to it, Robert Kirkman is a great writer.
Yeah, he is.
Like, we were talking about Walking Dead recently. You talked about the last issue. I personally, not on the show, but we talked about it.
Oh, little sidebar, that Negan issue, probably the best since issue 100.
So,
Can you give me a comment? Did you read it?
I haven't read it yet. So that's why I was going to read it today. Decided instead
Take a siesta.
to take my time with those 3 issues.
3 out of 6 issues.
It's a lot.
Hey, to be fair, those 3 out of 6, 2 of those are 10s.
What was I saying? Oh, Robert Kirkman. We know he can write. He's Invincible's ending. He has Outcast that still comes out. He has Walking Dead. So this is his new venture, and I am interested yet to see where he goes with this. I didn't really see, like, when you brought it up today in our chat to say you said you were talking about this book. I was like, oh yeah, that's coming out, and it actually made me excited. And I looked up some stuff, and I was like, okay, I'm ready for that book.
Yeah.
I am excited to see him do something different.
Right.
So it'll
Well,
be
I
interesting.
mean,
to
it'll
see.
still be kind of apocalypse stuff, but it won't be zombies.
Well, it's sci-fi. It sounds
Yeah,
like. So
right.
it's interesting to see him do a sci-fi book.
Right.
So
I think this will give him more of a chance to deal on character development without being like, oh yeah, the zombies are still in this book too.
I guarantee you, though, I bet you anything this book is already picked up for TV rights. So
Well, I'm sure.
because his Outcast book was, and it actually was a TV show, wasn't it?
I think the first
On,
season came out already.
Cinemax.
Do you think there's going to be a second
else?
season?
Oh yeah, pulled up. Oh maybe. Alex, what's your next book?
So the next book that I'm actually excited for is The Seeds, written by Ann Nocenti, Garrett's favorite, and probably one of my favorites, if not my favorite artist, David Aja. The Seeds, a new 4-issue series in imminent America where fact-based reporting is gasping in its last breath. An idealistic journalist stumbles into the story of a lifetime only to realize that she can't report it. Instead, she has to pitch the biggest myth of her career, an eco-fiction tech thriller where, holy shit, where flora and fauna have begun to mutate. The Seeds is also a story of love and beyond the race and gender, and is the resilience of both human and animal kind. First issue comes out March 28th, 2018.
4-issue mini.
Yes.
Oh, thank God.
David Aja art.
They're gonna
That
get
cover
it?
looks great.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
I say there's a cover with I X'd out of it, but it's a green circle with the bee in it. Looks great. I mean, it just looks great.
I'm just glad you guys will be spending more than $16 on that piece of shit.
You're gonna be so sad when he and I tell you that this book is amazing.
No, I won't.
Oh, you will.
I'll make you read, then I'll take you back and you can read New 52 Green Arrow like 7, 8, 9, and then you can come back to me and be like,
To be fair, I had Anna Sente on Catwoman for a while. So
Imagine if you gave up on Sam Humphries and you didn't read Green Lanterns. Imagine if you gave up on James Tinney in the Fourth and didn't read Detective Comics.
I need a written apology for what happened to Green Arrow. So
She's written some good stuff before. Her black and white Batman's great.
people get old.
Anyways, I am really looking
You're
forward
an
to that
idiot.
too. Especially that it's a 4-issue mini. It's going to really contain David Aja. I know can do 4 issues
Yeah.
and not get delayed. So that'll be something interesting to see. And even that concept that sounds like what I was looking for too. Purely like politics and like newspaper. That's my best kind of politics story. When somebody's at a newspaper, perfect. Like All the President's Men, one of my favorite movies of all time. So I'm very interested to see where that goes. Like that description for me is kind of like, I'm not sure what you just told me, but I just know something.
I just heard flora and fauna. I was in. And David Aja.
You told me David Aja, and you told me it's going to be about her uncovering a story. I'm in.
It could have been David Aja drawing shit. I probably would have gotten it. So
When
wanna see
does
me
it come
draw?
out? March?
March 20th.
Looking forward to
Yeah,
it.
I'm pretty sure he's drunk.
March 20th.
My last book is something we kind of touched on throughout this episode. Speaking of Jeff Lemire, his DC's new Fantastic Foursome is called The Terrifics, written by Jeff Lemire, illustrated by Ivan Rice, and also Evan, Doc Shanner.
Ivan.
It's the story of basically DC's Fantastic Four. We have Mr. Terrific, Plastic Man, Metamorpho, and Phantom Girl. So we have 4 people who one guy can stretch, one girl can phase, Mr. Terrific is the smartest man in the world. And
Whoa, then why did Osmodeus not show up to him?
oh, wait, no, he's the third smartest, right? Mr. Terrific. I think he's supposed to be. He's
supposed to be really smart because he created the T-sphere. So,
and then we have
Metamorpho.
Metamorpho, who's going to be like the thing type character, who's kind of a monster. But I am very interested to see those concepts by Doc look amazing. The character, have you seen them? The character.
I guess I've seen the like 4 mini pictures next to each other.
Yeah, this here.
Oh, I hadn't seen that. No.
Oh,
The one I had seen was they were standing up next to each other.
we have 4 very interesting characters who usually aren't. They're like, I don't want to say B-level characters, but they're people who usually are minor characters.
I'd call them B.
They're usually minor characters in
Right.
the books. So to have them on a
Plastic Man.
team, and I think Jeff Lemire, like we've talked about, is on a roll. And him, basically, this is going to be his first ongoing for DC and for a long time.
What's the last thing he did for DC?
Green Arrow, I think.
Oh, you're right. Yep, that would be.
So that was a long time ago.
That was.
So
Couple years.
yeah, 3 years.
Yeah.
4 maybe.
And he saved that title from Anno Sente.
So I'm very interested to see what he does
I'm ignoring you.
with
Garrett.
Terrifics, what he does with the DC staple. And like I said before, this Dark Matter line, supposedly Jim Lee said they have more free reign to do whatever they want with it. So I am interested to see, basically, it seems like his version of kind of like, he's been doing Black Hammer about superheroes. I'm interested to see him go back to actually DC superheroes and see what he does.
Is it true or not true that Jeff Lemire once said at a con, well, if Marvel's not going to give you Fantastic Four, ...
I think actually it was Doc said that.
Who's Doc?
The guy who designed
Oh.
the artist. He's going to be one of the artist teams on this, and Ivan Rice also. I enjoyed both their art, so I'm interested to see that. I'm pretty sure the confirmation we got for this book was Doc tweeted the pictures of them and said, well, Marvel won't give you the Fantastic Four. And then
Okay.
Now, not to sound stupid, I agree with Garrett. Every time you said Doc, I was like, who the hell have you been talking to that we don't know about?
Is there a doctor? Is his name Dr.
I said
Brown?
Evan Doc Shanner.
You said Ivan.
Yvonne.
I did.
So we were
I did fuck it up.
confused.
But I am really looking forward to that book. I think it'll be a fun book,
Yeah.
if anything else. And I think if we learned anything over the last 12 months is that Jeff Lemire can tell a book that is fun, but also is very serious. And so I think he'll be able to toe that line and give us that great comic from DC. So very interested. I think if any book I'm looking forward
I
to,
think that's the
it's
one
Turtles.
for the medals that I think that is going to be the number one most looked forward to by most people.
Agreed.
Yeah. That one has probably the most eyes on it. That's the one that had the most buzz coming out when they announced
Right.
it. Same thing with like Oblivious Song that has the most buzz out of
Yep.
the yearbooks, I think.
Okay.
So
The
far.
only time I've only heard of that from you and from that Image Plus.
Once
book.
again, you go on the internet and you go straight to your source.
Didn't even look
You go
at
to
that.
TacoBell.com
I
and
looked
you
at
figure out what new
paper
tacos they
product.
have.
Yeah.
Paper.
It's all
Tacos.
over the place.
Really?
Well, it's, yeah, like I said, like Marvin said, Robert
When they announced
Kirkman
it, it
is
was
so
huge.
mainstream.
I don't even know who
It's
Robert
all-
Kirkman is.
I'm going to slap you across the
He doesn't
face.
read Walking Dead.
I don't read it. I don't watch it. Could give two shits.
You just said you got his other book, Super Dinosaur.
Yep. Well, it hasn't come out in 4 years, so I don't remember who his name is.
How many of the trades of Walking Dead do you have?
8.
He's a good chunk of them.
I haven't gotten to the saddest
Might as well
part
just
yet.
sell those and get the compendiums.
I know.
Wednesday Comics 605 at gmail.com. Let us know your thoughts on what you're looking forward to in 2018 over the next 12 months. Anything brand new or maybe anything from that unknown we were talking about. What do you think Menace will write? What do you think be the new writer for Spider-Man? Let us know. Also find us on Twitter. You can tweet us your answers. That's at Wednesday Comics, at Alex Pastrallo, or at Garrett2188, or at Marvin_Salguero. That's SALGUERO. Facebook.com/Wednesday Comics Podcast. Go ahead and post on our wall and let us know what you think. What should Kelly Thompson do next? Who should be the next writer of Jessica Jones? What are you looking forward to in 2018?
What should Brian Michael Bendis write?
Brian Michael Bendis. Let me know. Who do you think should be the next writer for Spider-Man? Go to YouTube and find us on YouTube. That's Wednesday Comics. We have our videos on there. You can see this guy, and this guy, and this guy. Look at these numbers right here. Garrett, we have a book club coming out, right?
We do.
Next week?
Really quick. I mean, due date's here, guys. The Wednesday Comics Leave of Extraordinary Gentle Peoples book club. The Other Side, written by Jason Aaron with art by Cameron Stewart. Vietnam War, 2 sides, 2 point of views, and how they interact with one another. So, what's the deadline to send in your voicemails for...
By
book club?
next Wednesday. Is that the 4th?
Yes.
Yep. So by Wednesday the 4th, we need those voicemails.
No, that's wrong.
The first is on Monday.
5th is Friday, so it's the 3rd.
Yeah, so it's the 3rd.
So by Wednesday the 3rd, even less time, read
Yeah.
that book. It's on Hoopla. You can go pick it up in stores. They just came out with a new 10th anniversary edition. So definitely check it out and chat with us next week about what you think about the other side.
Feel free if you don't want to leave us a voicemail. Once again, that voicemail is 605-215-1849. You can also leave us a voicemail about anything, but you can also tweet us or email us your thoughts too. If you just want us to read them, that'd be fine. SuperCon 2018, that's Return of the Con, September 28th, 29th, and 30th. We'll be there. 28th is, they just announced today, or actually, by the time you listen to this, they announced it in the past, but they announced that the night of the 28th, they're having a big Midwest All-Pro Wrestling show to kick off the whole SuperCon. And guess what happens afterwards? That's Wednesday Comics Live is right afterwards. So get your tickets. Go to supercon.com. I don't think tickets are actually out now, so I'm not sure why I said go get your tickets. But go to supercon.com. Follow them on
Start
social.
saving your money for those tickets.
Follow them on social. Yeah, collect your pennies. Follow them on social media, and you can. They'll let you know when those tickets are out, and you can buy them. I recommend a weekend pass because you're gonna want to come back over.
It's totally worth it.
Plus, you can go see a wrestling show. You can go see. They have like cosplay shows. You can play games. There's a lot
All
of stuff
kinds
to do
of
around.
creators and artists are going to be
Creators will
there.
be there. Shay Fontana, Phil Hester. So, brought to you by Wednesday Comics.
Yeah, Phil Hester.
A lot of stuff going on. It's the. I heard it's the Belle of the Ball. Wait, that's a person. rootsoftheswampthing.com. Go there, learn about the Swamp Thing. This guy's been popping up all over the place. He had a story recently in the Christmas special. If you read that and you're like, who's this guy? Go to rootsoftheswampthing.com and he'll let you know who he is in his past. Holland Files #2 should be coming out pretty soon. We'll have John on the show soon who can tell you more about it. Is there anything else on there? No, that's it. Well, end of 2017. Good year, I think. Wednesday Comics went strong.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
This is coming out on New Year's Eve. Oh, should we count down to end the show?
Sure.
Okay, remember. You've listened to the show. I'm not sure what time it is, but pause this and you're going to come back to this at midnight. 10 seconds to midnight. All right, we're back. Actually, hold on a second. We'll count down in a second, but keep it rolling. If you started this 10 seconds for a minute, sorry, it's already been there probably. But 2017 was a good year.
Yep.
A lot of stuff happened. 2018 sounds like a better year, especially for Wednesday Comics. We're going to be at SuperCon. We have a YouTube page. A lot of new stuff coming out. You guys do the Gauntlet. That's a new show.
Yeah, new show.
We're gonna try to have more guests on.
Yep.
Have more opinions in here. Guest hosts might show up if that guy gets out of bed. I like how we always say.
Sounds like you get hit by a car and is immobile.
He's in a comic-induced coma.
Do you think if I put chicken and broccoli in a bowl, he would show up?
Chicken and cauliflower rice.
Ooh, what cauliflower?
That's a new thing.
Cauliflower rice.
Cauliflower rice. You take cauliflower and you shave it into rice.
Actually, sounds not bad. I like
pretty
cauliflower
good.
more than broccoli.
Ooh,
I don't know
like,
if I've ever had cauliflower.
Fight me.
I like them both together.
Oh, they're both good. Cauliflower though, you can't boil it because it smells like horrible. All right, we're gonna do the ending and then we'll do the countdown. All right.
Okay.
For Wednesday Comics, I've been Marvin. Goodbye, 2017.
I am Alex. Happy New Year.
I'm Garrett. Happy New Year.
And everyone, keep turning those pages.
10,
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Happy New Year! Catch you later.